Hello. Hoonbert here. It's been a long time, but I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to say that these fucking goons came up with a name for this awards show after recording the whole bloody thing, and regret not mentioning the name during the podcast. So, welcome to the first annual Golden Rocko Awards. Shout out to Lee for thinking of the name. Gobble gobble gobble. Get fucked. Gobble.
Yes, hi, hello. Welcome to Gooncast, where we talk about random bullshit. Yeah, hi, I'm Saber0307, James. I'm a hack fraud Twitch streamer, and once again, I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts.
Hi, everybody. It's Kat, aka the Attack Cat, dialogue designer by day, writer/horror artist by night. Yeah, I'm super excited to be here tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. This is your boy Lee Alder, the Valley Jester, fantasy and horror writer, and this episode is going to be a really good one, a good way to close out a chapter, so to say.
It's sort of almost our anniversary, but not quite.
Yeah, it's almost there.
We're almost there. So basically, we're all here to talk about our favorite, least favorite, and most disappointing things we experienced in 2021 from a media perspective.
Hell yeah.
The obligatory end-of-year lists, although I want to stress that this is not restricted to media that came out in 2021. Otherwise, at least for me, it would be a very fucking barren goddamn list. It's media first experienced in 2021. Similar to the way Donkey does his like top 10 games of the year or whatever, where it's like, hey, I first played this in this year. This is why, etc., etc. And there's probably going to be some stuff on here that we didn't talk about, and it's either because of the fact that we saw it and it's, just didn't make the cut, or we didn't see it. Like, I haven't seen Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be on any of my particular lists personally, just because I'm not a big Marvel guy, but whatever. Like, I haven't seen a lot of shit, So.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen Spider-Man. I've heard amazing things, but it's not going to be on my list. Yeah.
It fucks. It will not be on my list because I watched it after a cutoff period for submissions on these items. And even then, I don't know if it would crack my top 10, but yeah, very enjoyable film. Very good.
Awesome. I'm excited to see it someday.
in the aftermath.
In the after,
when we can put on the gas masks and rise up and take back the surface world.
Yeah, exactly.
When we find the
Hail Ratma,
the world overrun with apes, and we just scream like Charlton Heston.
It's people. Oh wait, no, wrong Charlton Heston.
Well, I mean, actually, no, the world is getting overrun with apes. Just a fucking stupid digital kind of ape. But anyways,
oh my god.
Yes,
let's not.
Speaking of disappointments, great fucking segue.
Hey.
Let's start with top 3 most disappointments, and we're gonna go in reverse order, so it's gonna be Lee, and then Kat, and then myself.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, kind of the format that we're using is adopted from the Magic Show. Shout out Evan Irwin. The way it's going to work is we're going to work from worst to, I guess in this case, more worst. But if there is a case of something on our list being ranked higher on someone else's list, the conversation about that piece of media will be postponed until it's at the highest point on the list. An unbiased third party took a look through our 3 lists.
Shout out to
and
Cal.
Gave us those indicators. Shout out to Cal.
Yeah, thank you, Cal.
And so that way we have little indication markers on our lists of if there's something we need to postpone talking about, without knowing anything about what is on other goons' lists. So with that being said, I'm going to start with disappointment number 3, and that is The Matrix Resurrections.
Oh, Lee, we are twins.
Yeah.
That is also my number 3.
Off to a good start. Matrix Resurrections, when it comes to something like this, we'll keep the conversation a little bit brief, because if we have an episode on it, hey folks, that's just further incentive to go back and check out our catalog, or you already know what we're gonna say.
Or please,
but
please re-listen and plate my numbers, please.
We like seeing number go up. Do big number.
Please, I'm so lonely.
Give more eyes. Need eyes.
Matrix 4 was ambitious in that it tried to do something very meta, tried to do something very new and very for this day and age. Mm-hmm. And while I appreciate that it tried to do something new, it dropped the ball on a lot of things that I come to expect from a Matrix film. Awful fight choreography. Yeah. A strange choice of character angle with a few characters. I don't want to go too much into it because this isn't a spoiler cast. But choices they made with Morpheus were very eyebrow raising. They took a lot of shots, and I can appreciate they did it, but those shots just did not land for me. So Matrix does land at my number 3 spot.
Yeah, same for me, because most of what you just said, and also the game dev allegory didn't really do it for me. And I would also like to take this opportunity to apologize for continually mispronouncing Wachowski in our podcast. That's on me. I should have done better research, more research. I've only really ever read the name, and yeah, that's my bad. Mostly love your movies, but this one just didn't quite do it for me. James.
So my number 3 is the hot topic button thingy of Gooncast. It's Candyman 2021.
Oh no.
Good choice.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh man. All right, we got a Candyman podcast already.
Yeah.
So
I'm not gonna really go too much in depth. Just that I felt that there was a lot of wasted potential. I felt that a lot of elements of the movie were super sledgehammery and ham-fisted in regards to what they were trying to do, especially compared with the first film. And I generally hated the ending because of those two elements. Strong performances, strong cinematography. Just, it was surprisingly, for me anyway, the most disappointing slasher film of the year.
So what we're trying to say is, while all 3 of us love Yahya Abdul-Mateen,
I know, I was just about to say,
he's fucking great.
He's getting so burned.
We just have
like,
some
right
mixed
out the gate.
feelings on a few things about him this year.
Listen, I'm glad it didn't make your worst, James. I personally really liked Candyman, but it also didn't make any of my best lists. So
it was a potential for my worsts, but there was a lot of other shit that I hated a lot more.
Oh yeah. All right.
Very fair. Moving on to my number 2, just because I don't want there to be any kind of disillusionment about what kind of person I am constructing my lists here and who you fine people at home are listening to. My number 2 most disappointing is Honey Pop 2.
Oh, that's a good choice. That's a really good choice.
No.
We are
what
digging
happened?
down.
What happened?
So, for those of you not in the loop, Honey Pop is a popular Steam game. It is a hentai puzzle game that got a lot of traction because of YouTube Megastar Markiplier giving a hell of a run on it. Very fun puzzle game, and nothing too out of the ordinary from the slide and match shapes, and instead of spending lots of microtransactions to get more lives. Instead, if you win, you get to spend time with a harem of wonderfully designed characters. The sequel came along and started trying to implement new difficulty measures like a stamina meter and personality quirks that made each girl feel more individualized from each other, but a very unfair gameplay curve that
super fucking hard.
Didn't make it difficult. It made it infuriating.
Oh, that's a shame.
I put 90 hours into Honey Pop 1. And
You,
Tiny Pop
you platinumed
2,
it, right?
I platinumed Tiny Pop 1.
Oh, yeah.
I put maybe 7 or 8 hours into the second and never opened it again.
Damn.
It won't make my worst because it's still visually, it's fine. I've got a lot of love for the series. I like it when the lewds start to make the mainstream and get more like streaming attention. But this one just didn't do it for me, so it lands at number 2.
Damn. I remember us discussing Honey Pop because I was a big fan of the first game. And I didn't ever pick up the second game. And then you discussed the second one briefly, being like, I'm playing this, and then we never talked about it again. And I didn't even think of it again until
and
now.
There was a reason I didn't talk about it.
Yeah, I actually just went back and decided to sit down and beat Honey Pop 2, and yeah, it was infuriating.
Damn, I'm
Wow,
so sorry,
you beat
guys.
it?
Yeah.
This guy.
Rip. Oh man.
I decided to really
But
hate
not on your
myself.
stream?
No, I'd get banned on Twitch.
Go out in a blaze of glory,
Yeah,
Jam.
yeah.
That's it. That's what I've been saying. The day that I'm ready to get my channel taken down, I'm streaming Bible Black.
There
We're
you
doing
go.
it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I decided to hate myself even more, Lee, and I did it on incel difficulty.
Jesus. All right. Well, my number 2 is higher ranked on someone else's list.
Oh,
So is
So
mine.
James. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
no.
Back to
Are we to number 1
That
now?
means my number 1 is both of your number 2s.
Yes,
so
it is.
folks, let's talk about Midnight Mass.
No. Oh my God. No, that's
That's
my number 1.
That means Cat's number 2
We-
is my number 1.
Yeah. No, Lee,
Oh.
Lee, you and I are twinsies a little bit on this
Midnight
one.
Mass,
Midnight Mass
is
is my number 1.
It's my number 2, Midnight Mass.
Okay. Wow.
Well,
all
let's
of
have
us.
a chat.
Yeah.
Because
I
we
would love
actually
to
haven't
give
talked
this-
about it on the podcast.
Yeah, I would love to be the one to give the tidbit of behind the
God.
scenes information on this one. Hey
Uh-huh.
folks, we were gonna have a podcast about this, and the amount of collective apathy we all felt just said, fuck it.
Yeah.
We
It started.
couldn't really bring ourselves to get hyped to sit down and talk about
It
this.
started so strong.
It is actually also on another list of mine because of that beginning. The beginning was so good and so well written, and honestly, genuinely one of the best portrayals I've ever seen of like growing up Catholic, like of Catholic masses and Catholic communities I've ever fucking seen. And then it just like I think we what is it, 6 episodes?
We started to
Right?
lose a bit interest around episode 5.
6 or
The-
8.
Yes.
Which
Oh
5
yeah,
is
it was
when...
because we watched the first 4 together, I think,
Yes.
and then the second 4, and that first 4 was so good and so strong, and then the second 4 was just like, where's the show I was just watching? Like, what
Yeah,
happened?
They did, since it's also not a spoiler cast and we're not going to try to get into spoilers, it just episode 5 takes a narrative turn, and it kind of sucked it sucked a lot of the interest that we had out of it.
Ha!
No pun intended. But like
Yeah.
Chuckle, chuckle.
Hamish Linklater was so fucking good.
Oh my God, yes.
God, what was his name? Robert Longstreet, who played Joe Colley, the town drunk. So fucking good.
Mhm.
Oh, absolute best character.
And like
God,
God damn it, man.
every character was amazing. The only 2 I didn't quite buy was the main character dude and the pregnant lady.
Yeah.
I didn't buy I didn't
You
think they
didn't buy
had a
the
lot of
2
chemistry.
leads? Oof.
I didn't think they had chemistry.
Yeah.
All of their conversations were a little bit flat to me.
Yeah,
they were both great actors in their own right, but together it was just like paint drying.
Yeah,
and it was
like-
like, oh,
The scenes where they're with other people, like the scenes with Zach Gilford, who played Riley, in the AA meetings with Hamish Linklater, the priest, fucking incredible. The scenes
Yes.
of Kate Siegel with the doctor were
Yes.
really,
Mhm.
really good.
Wonderful.
But
the sheriff was so good.
the second you paired Kate Siegel and Zach Gilford together, just all chemistry just dropped, which was really unfortunate.
It was a shame.
Yeah.
Especially because the ending is so tied into you caring about them together was just like, oh.
Yeah.
That ending, we won't get into it, but
yeah,
awful.
I'll keep my thoughts brief on it, but it makes my number one because it tackled a lot of subject matter in originally a very tasteful way that I was super on board with. For the listeners who don't know me personally, I'm a recovering alcoholic. At the time of recording this, I'm 2 weeks away from my 1-year anniversary.
Congrats!
And the series tackles addiction in a very, very tasteful and accurate way.
Yes.
And at about the halfway point of the series, it just says fuck all that.
Yeah.
And
a
little bit of a fall from grace. So I took that one a little bit personally.
dropped the ball on that hard.
Yeah. So that's why it ranks number one for me.
Yeah, it is a shame because it's a genuinely incredibly written limited series that just doesn't stick the landing.
I was really disappointed.
Hence disappointment.
Yeah, I was very upset since I was a big fan of Mike Flanagan's previous efforts, and I haven't seen Haunting of Bly Manor yet, but I adored Hill House.
I haven't seen either Hill House nor Bly Manor, and I am like beating myself up over I need to watch them. So maybe those will make the 2022 list. But yeah, for now, Midnight Mass just didn't quite hit.
Yeah, and shout out to Rahul Khalil. Rahul Khalil, I love you, dude. I want you to be cast as the main character in my book when I'm done with it.
Oh,
we'll
hell yeah.
we'll make this happen, man.
Call me.
Yeah, call me, dude.
Sorry, we're ragging on your
handsome.
Your latest project, but
Your host, you're so handsome. All right.
Okay, so
we have a
James,
2-1 split.
Yeah, that means that
your
number one is
Chris
is
on
my number 2.
Duty Modern Werewolf.
Oh no. Yeah. Yep.
Oh god.
Oh man.
We talked about Village at length, so we're gonna try to keep it brief. I love the first half to 2/3 of that game, even though like the sort of middle chunk / second third is not quite as strong, like as the start, obviously. But basically, yeah, the second it switches over to Chris, it was bad. It was bad. Stupid revelations to try to tie it into the earlier entries, obnoxious hint tutorials, a couple of solid story moments still sprinkled in there, like elements of the ending still work for me, like the resolution of Ethan and whatnot.
Yes.
But
I'm totally down to have a main character killed off in a franchise. That's always cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But good God.
But yeah.
I was just so mad.
Genuinely, I would replay the opening 2 levels that I played, the Lady Dimitrescu's castle and the dollhouse.
Yeah.
I would replay those levels over and over and over again if they were a standalone game. I loved them so much, and then just nosedive from there.
Yeah, it gets a bit weaker with Moreau, and then the Werewolf Cave is even weaker, and then
the Fuck Factory.
Heisenberg's Fuck Factory.
Yeah.
Best character in the game, arguably.
Yep.
Awful fucking level
he's
and boss
fantastic.
fight.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just a hot mess. Like, I totally wanted an origin story for the fucking Umbrella logo. Thanks, Capcom.
Yeah, I obviously don't share the disappointment because it is noticeably absent from my list. But very noticeable shift once you get to the halfway point and you get to the final 2 lords.
You had to make room for Honey Pop too, man.
Yeah.
I get it.
Look,
I get it.
Why is Morpheus nanobots? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, so with that out of the way, the disappointments were just a little A little dirt
Yeah.
on our shoulder that we had to brush away. But we got
Yeah.
some serious grievances with
Yeah.
some things from this year.
And
Boy,
before
boy, do we.
before we get started on that, I'm the only one with a dishonorable mention. And I want to
yes.
just
Okay, let's
knock
hear
this out of the way.
Mhm.
My dishonorable mention is Netflix's Cowboy Bebop. We have only
Okay.
watched 3 episodes of it. I
Mhm,
wanted to watch the entire thing before we did this list because I do
Yeah.
know certain elements that happen later on that I genuinely hate, that I was positive would put this in my top 5 worst. But I just couldn't be asked to watch the remaining 7 episodes by myself. Every
Yeah.
time I wanted to sit
Yeah.
down to watch it, I was just like, I don't have the energy to watch 7 hours of something I know I'm going to hate on my own. So
Yeah.
because of that, it gets a dishonorable mention. Could wind up on 2022 if Kat, Lee, and I sit down and watch the entire fucking thing. But I just wanted to call that out, put that out there that
I'm down to finish it for sure and maybe do our own podcast take on it, but it was just kind of one of those things where over break, James would sometimes be like, hey, you guys want to watch a couple Bebop episodes? And we were all just like,
Nah.
no.
I gotta be on fire. I'm good.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, I also said, hey, you want to watch the good Bebop? And everybody still was no.
Well, no, because I'm having Krista watch that.
I know you have an excuse. I'm yelling at Kat.
Oh, okay. Well, that's totally reasonable then.
I had to watch a bunch of other stuff, all right?
I know.
I had a lot of catching up to do to finish this list, okay?
I know. But I'm still gonna jokingly yell at you about it.
I know you are.
I'll save my thoughts on live action Bebop for if we do a recording on it. But yeah, a very fitting choice for the dishonorable mentions.
Yeah. All right, Lee, kick us off.
This is one that you two don't have exposure to, but for me to leave it off the list would be a disservice to my personal tastes. I need to talk music for a second.
Okay.
Back when I was in my early 20s, I still am a fan, but back then I was a rabid fan of a group of young Englishmen named Asking Alexandria. They came over from across the pond with their tight black t-shirts and ripped skinny jeans and helped influence the brand of symphonic metalcore that I've been listening to for a long, long time. They hit the scene with a massive, massive record called Stand Up and Scream and followed it up with my favorite record of their career, Reckless and Relentless. And then about 5 years ago or 6 years ago, they went through a massive tonal transition, became radio butt rock. And I typically don't hold it against a band when they choose to take a different direction. We all change, we all mature. I'm not into the same stuff I was 10 years ago. But what was spewed out this year is one of the most abysmal pieces of trash I've heard in a long time. Asking Alexandria's See What's on the Inside. This is a record that was suspiciously under-advertised, which is never a good sign. I think the extent of the promotion for this record was a couple of like weird black and white vignettes on their YouTube page of just like them jamming in the studio with this really moody monologue over it of like, this is us getting back to our core. This is what Asking Alexandria fucking is. And I couldn't, gun to my head, I couldn't name you 3 titles off of this album. This is radio friendly, non-offensive, quote, hard rock that God, boys, what happened to you? And it's not to knock on the boys too bad, because lead guitarist and one of the major songwriters, Ben Bruce, had a great point where someone called him out on his live stream talking about the record. And someone said, why don't you go back to doing the Reckless and Relentless stuff? And he said, well, because back then I was a gigantic drug addict and I was like a violent husband. Like, I'm not that guy anymore. This is the kind of music that I feel like I make. And it's like, okay, hey, good on you.
Yeah.
I just can't listen to it anymore.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Massive, and that's not to say that just like the change in musical styling is why I've completely turned on them. They did an acoustic version of one of their older songs, which, is like a cardinal sin to some heavy metal heads. Why would you tone it down? Why would you unplug? But they do an acoustic rendition of a song called Alone in a Room, which is about just sitting by yourself and tackling all the mental issues and hurdles that you need to deal with alone. And that song helped get me through this year. That's a song that helped me deal with these demons I'm fighting. So it's not just about, oh, they got soft, so it sucks. This album sucks because it fucking sucks. And that was my TED Talk.
All right. Well, yeah, I can honestly say I've not been exposed to that. I don't have any music stuff on my lists, so because I don't consume a lot of music in terms of media.
Yeah, I mostly consume music through video games and Poets of the Falls.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, music. I don't talk about it on the podcast almost at all, but music is the media I consume the most, more than films, TV, video games. Music is what I really delve into. So to leave it off of the list entirely would just not have been appropriate. So throw that one on there.
Hell yeah. So my number 5 is kind of unique because I actually have a tie for 5. I couldn't pick between 2, and one of mine is higher on someone else's list, so I won't talk about that one. But my number 5, or one of my number 5s, is Spiral.
Oh boy!
So, yeah.
Yeah, that was
talk about Spiral.
That was almost on my list. Good fucking god.
We have a podcast on it already, and I'm pretty sure you guys can guess which one tied with it for 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just one of those things where I had two pieces of shit in my hand, and I was like, which one is shittier shit? And I was just like, I'm not gonna pick. I'm just gonna talk about both of them.
Don't worry. Yeah. I've got the other one covered.
I think I have the other one covered too.
Spiral was basically it was taking from Saw, it was taking from Seven, it was taking from frickin' Fear.com, and it didn't do right by any of its influences. Even Fear.com, which I'm like, guys, interesting choice.
Yeah, it's like I love the Saw franchise. It's garbage.
Wow.
It's garbage outside of the first one, but it's so fun and how stupid and preposterous it gets.
And it has a vibe to it. It has it was somewhat genre defining in a way to the like torture porn horror. And yeah, this kind of just didn't do anything for any of that. It's kind of generic traps, a generic bad guy, generic cop procedural.
Reusing the exact same, or more or less the exact same plot twist from the fucking previous Saw movie. Like, it's basically the same fucking twist as Jigsaw. And I'm like, God, Chris Rock, please. I love you. I know you can act. But why?
All right, Jam.
All my comments about Spiral are already on that podcast. Sitting through that movie again would be one of Jigsaw's torture devices.
So my number 5, exactly. My number 5 is higher on somebody else's list.
Gasp.
Oh, all right. The meat and potatoes.
All right, Leaf, number 4.
All right, time for me to bitch about something else. Let's go. Number 4. Number 4 is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memory.
Feel the heat. Feel the heat, Lee.
Feel the heat. Feel the heat. Feel the heat. All right, so
give it to us.
Kingdom Hearts is my favorite video game franchise of all time, and this is a title that I did not play on its initial release on the Game Boy Advance back in the day. And once the collection was released on PC, I live streamed my first playthrough of it. And in the first 30 minutes, you could see all hope drain from my eyes.
Yeah, it was rough, folks. It was real rough.
Oh man.
This game is tough. It tries to maintain the third person sort of like hack and slash combat system of the games, but implements a card battle mechanic. Now, I love me some card battles. I have been playing Magic the Gathering since I was 9.
Yeah.
I should not have an individual card for one swing of my primary weapon.
Yeah, it's silly.
There are so many issues with this fucking game. A very unclear tutorial that led me to assume that for about 80% of my playthrough that I could just run out of cards, which led to some hilarious boss encounters where I just had an empty hand and was jumping around. Now, granted, that one's on me. I found out later that that was a mechanism I was not utilizing properly. But the I shouldn't say half-assed, but it comes off that way. This very sloppy combat system trying to combine the classic third person action of Kingdom Hearts with this clunky fusion card battle system, summons that are absolutely worthless, an easily broken combat system by having one move in Sonic Blade that can just be obtained early and used to cheese every single boss in the game.
Yeah, you were just using that nonstop.
And I'm not the only one. And then you blessedly get to the end. You defeat the final boss, and then you get to a credits screen that says "Go fuck yourself, loser." Now you got to play again as a different character with a worse deck that you can't modify.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of your stream because I wanted to tell you, but I didn't want to spoil it for you.
Oh no, I'm so glad you didn't tell me because I was furious.
Yeah, your reaction of like, wait, I'm only halfway done with this piece of shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm on some kind of watch list for Googling how to tie a noose. But, yeah. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, number 4. Great franchise, terrible entry.
Yeah. I don't know too much about Kingdom Hearts, but I did watch a couple of I watched one boss battle like to completion where I was just like, damn, Lee, you're going way. I would have quit 2 hours ago.
There's a few bosses that made me think that, so I'm kind of curious which one you tuned in for. But yeah,
oh my god,
dreadful.
I don't know enough about the franchise to tell you. Some long-haired dude.
Oh, the pink-haired guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's the final boss of the first campaign. Oh, he's a bastard.
Yes, and I remember you very. God, it was. It was a sight to behold for sure. Check out Lee's Twitch to see.
Check out
a bunch of clips.
Valley Jester.
Oh man.
So, Kat, what you got for number 4?
My number 4, which I'm kind of surprised, it might be on somebody else's list. We've already talked about it on the podcast, but it's Halloween Kills.
Evil dies eventually. Yeah, that was gonna be on my list, but again, close. There was a lot more I hated, and I couldn't be bothered to be disappointed with it because most of the franchise is disappointing anyway. It's just the status quo.
I think for me the reason it wound up on the worst rather than the disappointing list, because it was kind of a toss up for me on that, was very specifically that the previous entry, just the Halloween 2018, felt like such a breath of fresh air to me. I was so excited to see what they would do with this franchise, and then they gave me Halloween Kills, and I was just like, no, put it back. I don't want this anymore.
Well, I mean, we got one more movie.
And we got another. Yeah.
All right,
which, I'll watch it. Yeah. I won't be happy about it, but I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've talked at length already about the film, so I won't go into it too much more. But just Evil dies tonight.
Yeah.
Evil dies eventually.
Evil dies eventually. Evil dies tonight.
And Evil dies at the number 4 spot.
The only thing I can really add to the conversation is at least Michael Myers isn't defeated via the power of Celtic runes.
That's true. That's true.
That's why it's not number 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
there are much, much, much worse entries to come.
Yeah. So my number 4 is higher on somebody else's list. So Lee, go.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Jam.
All right. We'll make this one brief because I've talked too much shit about this film already. This film is powered by the devil. We got Conjuring 3.
Hey!
Oh, hey, that was my number 5.
That's my number 3 too, baby.
Yeah,
Oh my
buddy.
god.
Fuck this sack of shit.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
This is a fall from grace film.
What a
This
piece of
is
shit.
this is
Jesus.
hot booty.
yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I couldn't decide between it and Spiral, so I just said fuck it, both of them.
yeah.
But
What
yeah.
a piece
This,
Holy shit.
This also almost wound up on my disappointing list. Just because I do
I
like
can see that.
the first 2 Conjuring films so much.
And then you remembered how angry it made you.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was going to be on
Ugh.
both disappointing and most hated. That's how much I
Oh
hated
yeah.
A double whammy.
it. Double
Yeah.
whammy.
I double dipped a couple of times for best and disappointing, but yeah, I not worst and disappointing. I kept separate.
Yeah,
That's great.
I just wanted to
Too much bad stuff.
Yeah, too much bad stuff, and at least for my number 3 spot of disappointing, I wanted to remind everybody of my hot take that I did not like Candyman, and I'm probably gonna get canceled for it.
I'll cancel you for it for
No!
sure.
Yeah, Conjuring 3, we it's kind of squeezed in, I think, to the Alien podcast along the Spiral. I don't know, we did it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was one of those where it was during that period where we were going to do an episode, and then we kept doing other stuff, and we couldn't coordinate, and they were like, fine, let's just squeeze all this garbage into the end of another episode.
God, you guys remember our first podcast where we talked about like 6 fucking things?
Yeah,
We were ambitious.
in the span.
Yeah.
It was
And it was 4 hours long.
in not just 6 fucking things.
What insane babies we were.
But the fact that like half of it was fucking dedicated to Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
That entire podcast could have just been Twin Peaks, considering how fucking dense that show was. But yeah,
it really should have.
Yeah.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
But yeah, Conjuring 3 sucks dick.
Yeah. The first 2 are absolute classics, and then this was laughable.
Mm-hmm.
This was absolutely laughable. But yet another opportunity for me to remind you and the viewers that fucking
fuck the devil.
yeah,
The
the fucking devil, that goddamn devil.
Oh no, James, not yet.
And don't forget, everybody. Ed Warren is the P.T. Barnum of the Catholic Church.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's why it was number 5 for me, because even though I like the previous Conjuring movies, I hate the Warrens, so I'm just like, they have tainted those movies for me a little bit.
I can feel that.
All right, my number 3.
Yep.
So, I would probably have put something else on my list in place of this had I experienced it for the first time this year. Even though, like, I don't want to be cruel or needlessly mean to one of our very good friends, but it would have been Corpse Party if it hadn't have been for James streaming it previously. And us ongoing streaming it on his channel for like literally centuries to come.
Yeah.
We'll never be free of Corpse Party.
We're never gonna be.
However,
We love you, Niku.
we love you, Niku. However, one game that I did experience for the first time in 2021 that absolutely deserves a spot on the worst list is Corpse Party's inbred lesser cousin, Misao.
Hey, that's my number 5.
Hey!
Yeah.
Fuck Misao.
Can I just say, right, that
Uh-huh.
I am so goddamn upset that for 2 years in a row I have started back to Ghoul with a fucking high school game, a high school horror game that's basically made an RPG Maker.
Yep.
That fucking has distasteful rape.
Yes.
Yep. Mhm.
Yes. Where you're just like, we like genuinely for the first like 20 minutes of us streaming this, we were like, oh, it's like Corpse Party, but like kind of better written, like, not as, because Corpse Party tends to just overindulge and just over describe everything. It's just so
No idea what you're talking about.
It's the ultimate visual novel experience because it just languishes in describing a soda for 3 pages. you know, where it's just like, okay, guys, move on, like get plot happening. But so Misao doesn't do that. Misao trims the fat, and it's only like a 3-hour game or something like that.
It was like 2-3 hours, yeah.
Oh, and
But
what
man,
3 hours?
I know, it trims the fat and then just like goes, it's like, what if we did Corpse Party but worse?
Yeah,
what if
it's really unfortunate because like it has fun death scenes like the witch's house, which was kind of appealing.
Yeah, tonal whiplash.
Yeah, and
all over the place.
I just want to like reiterate, like I bought Misao back in 2020 back to Ghoul as a potential because it was on a list of best RPG Maker horror games or whatever, right? And this is before baby James realized that a lot of RPG Maker horror games are garbage and best doesn't mean shit unless it's Witch's House for the most part. And I knew nothing about the fucking game, right? And this is now a year after I'd done Corpse Party, and I go, you know what? Let's kick things off with another RPG Maker horror game. Why not? So I install it, and then I finally read the plot synopsis for the first fucking time. And I immediately messaged Kat and Lee. I was like, this is just fucking Corpse Party. This is just fucking Corpse Party. And then we play it, and it's just fucking Corpse Party, but worse. It's
just fucking Corpse Party. Yeah, it's genuinely terrible.
Corpse Party while also simultaneously ripping off Jojo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh yeah, for like no, you're just like, this has to be this has to be intentional. And I googled around being like, did somebody fucking make mention of this, that literally the killer is just Kira? And I think there was like one other YouTuber that made a joke about it, but I guess not enough people have played Misao, which is a very good thing.
Well, I mean, it's either that or people don't care, because remember how for I don't know if this is on anybody's lists, it's not on mine, spoilers, but Zack Snyder's Justice League, where I called out that gigantic fucking plot hole that happens, and I look and nobody is talking about it, and then like I don't know, 2 weeks later, after a podcast, YMS uploads his video on it, and he calls out the plot hole. I'm like, thank fuck, somebody else noticed.
Yes. No, I was very grateful for that too, because all of us were just like, wait, this is an enormous gap.
Are we all crazy?
Did they actually mention something, and all of us were like talking over it or something? But no, it's just that movie didn't make enough of an impact to make either of my bad lists personally.
Yeah, fuck Misao.
Fuck Misao.
Not on my list, but fuck Misao.
Yeah,
James, do you have a number?
My number 3 was Conjuring. So we're back on Lee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. There. Okay. Number 2.
All right, my number 2. I've got a little bit of an issue. I can't think it. I can't say it.
Oh my god.
This was another contender.
Oh, I couldn't because I experienced it for the first time years ago.
Yeah, Bye Bye Man was almost on my list.
Bye Bye Man.
Fuck Bye Bye Man. Oh,
this movie sucks.
It's so
sucks
bad.
Ghostly dick. It's
so bad.
Yeah, but Lee,
sorry
about
Carrie Ann Moss that you're on our lists twice, but girl.
Yeah, Carrie, I love you.
Hold on, Lee. What about the fish giving the guy head?
That's fucking. What about Gloom Singer?
Gloom Singer.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not gonna waste too much breath on this goddamn movie. This is a piece of hot trash. I'm all about the shitty popcorn horror movie. If y'all know this podcast, we eat that shit up here.
Hell yeah.
This is garbage. It's. There's no tension. There's no stakes. The threat is not scary whatsoever. It's some withered railway hobo and his CG pile of ground beef dog.
You love ground beef dogs.
It's true. Gloom Singer.
Yeah, fucking yeah. Well, other than Gloom Singer being like the greatest power metal band that has never existed. Yeah, I don't think it, don't say it. I'm not gonna waste our precious podcast time talking about the goddamn Bye Bye Man. This movie blows.
Yeah.
Well, especially because we did also already.
We have a podcast. Yeah. It was. I think that was one of the few where even we were kind of like we don't have much to say about it. It's just bad. Don't watch it.
Yeah. I think we paired that up.
It's not even the entertaining kind of garbage.
I think I know one of the things that we paired it up with, but I think we also paired it up with Resident Evil Infinite Darkness.
Yes.
And we don't have that as a list, but Infinite Darkness would be the blandest thing that I saw in the year, just because of the fact that I keep forgetting that it exists.
Yeah, it would make it would make like most indifferent.
Yeah, definitely.
I was
unfortunate, but
very bewildered by that.
Yeah. There were some cool moments I remember, but yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, meh.
Yeah, fuck the bye-bye man. Cap.
Cap, what's your number 2?
All right, so this is sort of part of a franchise, I guess, that I love, and I actually introduced to the Goons this year, and then they reciprocated by introducing me to its live action adaptation.
Well, hey, that was me. You don't. Lee is blameless in this regard. I'm the one who discovered it by accident. It's my number 4.
It's only James who then got who was it? Weeb Mama, I think, to track it down from the depths of the internet.
Track down subtitles, I think.
Yeah, it's the goddamn erased live action movie.
Yeah, it's my number. It's my number 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So I can't have Erased itself on my best of because I experienced it years and years ago. But it's one of the best animes I've ever seen. It's actually my favorite anime of all time, I think. Mm-hmm. The manga is fantastic. A little bit different. I prefer the adaptation, actually. One of the few anime to manga things I like better as an anime. But still great. And then even the Netflix live action show, while not great, at least it still mostly adheres to the manga, and it does a pretty good job of doing that. But this movie, oh my god.
I could forgive
the
first hour and a half of that movie. It's a subpar adaptation. That last half hour. Need to remind you guys, I raged out of the movie I raged out of the movie for a few minutes where you guys audibly heard me throw shit and just storm out of my room. And you're like, is James okay?
That's right.
Like, no, I was not okay. It was so fucking bad.
It was so bad. The choices it made where, and I mean, I'm not usually, I don't want to rag too much on the guy. The lead actor was completely miscast. He was way too old for the role. The flashback stuff with the kids was just way too fast. They were trying to cram everything about this manga, this anime, into 2 hours when it already pretty comfortably fits in 6. There's some stuff you could trim here and there. And the stuff they chose to focus more on, like the, oh my god, the Ayu stuff? Yeah. Aya? I forget her name. The girl in the present, the pizza delivery girl, he's kind of, they chose to make that more in the forefront, which is that's a bold choice considering she's kind of supposed to be a supporting character that, more bolsters his personal journey. And she was cut almost entirely out of the anime for good reason.
Yeah.
For pacing, really. It was such a mistake. Such a mistake. There's a reason it's almost impossible to find. That fucking final confrontation on the rooftop. Oh my god.
That's the moment I raged. That's the moment I raged out. You're gonna fucking do my boy dirty like that? Fuck you.
Oh, so bad. Awful.
There's only one positive thing about that goddamn podcast. Or that movie. And this is my cue to shove in the YouTube version, Sawada's beard.
Sawada's beard, baby.
Baby. No, that's from the Netflix show though.
But
is it?
The fake beard is Netflix. The movie has no redeeming qualities.
Oh, well, whatever.
We're gonna throw Sawada's beard in there anyway.
I'm throwing it in there anyway. Because fuck
Damn
all
right.
y'all, I can do what I want. It's my podcast.
Damn right.
Yeah, and yeah, people, if you haven't seen the series Erased, go watch it.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Go.
Shout out to former AEW World Champion Kenny Omega, possibly one of the greatest pro wrestlers alive today, who is a massive weeb, and in an interview was asked, "What should I show a non-weeb friend to get them into anime?" And he firmly said, "Erased."
Beautiful.
Oh my god.
Fucking A.
My man.
GG.
Congratulations, Kat. You now have a favorite pro wrestler.
I know, I do, apparently.
Wonderful. So,
All right.
without further ado,
Mhm.
my number 2 is higher on somebody else's list. And I'm pretty sure.
And I believe it's higher
What?
because Kat and I,
Yeah.
we have to share this one.
We have to.
You
There's
have
no
to.
way.
There's no fucking way.
I'm gonna be shocked.
It's the devil!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Fear Street's my number 2.
But you're number 2.
I can't believe there's
What?
something you hate more
How
than
is there
that.
something you hate
Oh,
more than
You
that?
shouldn't
I
fucking
know what it
know.
is.
You should fucking know, Kat. You should fucking know.
This is
Okay.
fair. So yeah.
Okay, all right. Fuck.
We have
Fear
a whole
Street.
podcast shitting on this god-awful trilogy.
Yes. Yeah.
the second
We already
has
covered it.
The second has a few redeeming qualities, and I mean a few.
Yeah.
But God, 1 and 3 are the most...
Mm.
I am ashamed that they were as trending as they were.
Yes. Actually, I will say
am-
3 the flashbacks, the time period stuff was not as bad. It was still bad, but like
The devil.
the dead kids were great.
The stuff.
Oh, well, the Oops All Dead Kid scene was wonderful.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie, but I can only assume that it's basically the first hour or so of that movie is just Diet the Witch, and that's tolerable.
It is.
The last
and
hour,
The Witch is a fine film.
The last hour of that fucking movie is just the fucking worst. Fuck that trilogy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You can skip Fear Street 1 entirely. If you want to watch Fear Street 2, just don't. Go watch Friday the 13th instead.
Yeah.
And then if you want to watch
or like
Fear Street 3, go watch
The
Witch.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe
Sleepaway
Sleepaway Camp for 2.
Or Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah.
Sure.
Shit, fucking
I mean,
watch-
I'll take any excuse to look at Anya Taylor-Joy because she's. I want to unhinge my jaw and devour that girl.
Oh my god.
fucking watch Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 over Fear Street.
Yeah.
Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 are fucking awful.
Yeah.
But
I mean, other than a somewhat problematic, a very problematic ending. Great slasher movies.
Yeah. So my number 1.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Balan
please.
fucking Wonderworld.
Yeah.
All right. We haven't given this a proper venue yet.
I've briefly mentioned it on the podcast from time to time. I knew literally.
I'm gonna get relaxed.
I knew literally nothing about this game until I saw just some fucking artwork for it. And when I saw the artwork, my first assumption was, because I hadn't heard of it, I was like, oh, this must be some Kickstarter game that I'd never heard of. Whatever, I don't care. And then the memes started and the bad reviews started to come in and everybody was dogpiling it and saying, this is the worst fucking shit ever. Now, I am a connoisseur of jank. I cut games a lot of fucking slack. It's why I've gone through Illbleed multiple times. It's why I've gone through Drakengard multiple times. It's why I've gone through the Ring Terrors Realm multiple times. Where I can still get entertainment out of a game that has really shitty fucking gameplay, right? And I saw Donkey's review and it looked insufferable, but I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can get some enjoyment from this thing. Let's throw it up as a meme channel point community challenge. And my viewers will contribute their fucking channel points and get me to play Balan. And they did. So I spent the $40 and I bought that fucking game. And I don't think I have been as infuriated at a game in a God knows how long. It is so... it's frustrating because I can see a potential good game buried within this thing, right? Like, few positives I can say is it's aesthetically pleasing to look at, and I will say that Balan himself has a very striking character design. That looks like a fun platformer mascot, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It needs to try and be more Spyro. Like,
yeah,
that's what it kind of felt like to
it
me.
needs to have just platforming challenges and not just barren, empty fucking wastelands of fucking nothing that are fucking populated with power-ups and enemies that were decided by a fucking computer AI. No handcraftedness for the fucking enemy placement or power-up placement or collectible placement. It's all fucking AI driven, which is why it's so fucking bland. And then to top it all off, it is one of, if not the most fucking condescending fucking games I have ever fucking had the misfortune of experiencing. I've talked about it briefly before about how I hate it when the game is just constantly nagging at you and assumes you're a fucking dumbass. It's why the Chris section of Resident Evil Village pisses me off so much, where you have that fucking support character nagging at you about the fucking stupid laser pointer over and over and over again. Every 30 seconds, it's like, motherfucker, I'm being attacked by goddamn werewolves. I can't. I'm going to die. And Balan, based on the dev's comments, is specifically designed to be a quote-unquote easily accessible game that kids can play, because kids might find it difficult to play a game that has more than one button, which fuck you.
Yeah,
and
it is.
two,
absolutely
to their
not.
credit, the game is easily accessible when 8 of your controller buttons are jump.
Well, that's my thing, is the fact that it takes the notion, because there's this thing that I've been working on. I need to flesh it out more for a fucking YouTube video essay about accessibility in gaming. And I'm a firm advocate of accessibility in gaming. Give people colorblind options, give people subtitle sizes, field of view options, let them remap the entire controller. But there's this loud, obnoxious, dumb fuck portion of the accessibility crowd that insist that accessibility means dumb everything the fuck down to the point where it's just, there's nothing there, and that way everybody can play it.
That's the thing. I don't even think it's necessarily like that crowd. It's just people taking that concept to this like
extreme
nth degree. Yeah, that's just you fall ass backwards and completely fail to make it a good game for anyone.
Yeah, it's
and kids will figure out how to press more than one button. And they've been playing Mario since they came out the womb.
And
like,
that's part of my thing too, is the fact that like fucking Mario Odyssey is like 2 buttons at most. You have like a punch button and you have a jump button, right? That's it for the most part. And Mario Odyssey is one of the most fun fucking games you can play on the goddamn Switch, because there's life to it. It's easily playable by kids, but for anybody who wants to sink their teeth in, there's something more to it. There's some challenge to it. There's some all sorts of fun you can have. There's nothing in Balan. There's nothing.
Yeah.
I did watch a video recently where some other guy actually took it a step further, because to be fair, I the second the credits rolled, I quit that game. The game's like, oh, here's 12 new levels for you to play. And I was like, no, fuck that. But according to this other guy, who also hates Balan, the fun part of the game, the actual platforming challenge part of the game, is in those additional 12 levels. So that's I am going to play those as part of this Extra Life playthrough thing. But it's still my most hated fucking game of the fucking year, maybe of the decade. Maybe of all time, outside of maybe Knack, like and Bubsy, like it is just so
that's a high pantheon that it's chilling out with.
It is the pantheon,
the gods of Saber.
It is the fucking triple threat of just god awful shit platformers, and designed by fucking Bellans. Yuji Naka. I'm sorry that you had to get forced out of your job at Square Enix for this, but you should have fucking known better, dude. Come on.
I adore that your initial reaction to this was, what's this Kickstarter project? Like, what is this shit that is literally begging for money to exist?
That's what it looks like. I mean, there's all sorts of shit that I see, and it's like, oh, this is some Kickstarter thing. Okay. Like, I saw images of like a Hat in Time, and it's like, oh, this looks cute. Oh, it's a Kickstarter thing. That's neat.
But these grievances out of the way, James, what are your opinions on Box Fox?
I would rather chop off my dick and throw it in
where's
the river
Pounding
of fire.
Pig?
Yeah, where's Pounding Pig at?
That's another thing. That's another thing, viewers. There's 80 fucking costumes in this fucking game. And each
half
costume,
of them are walking keys.
The costumes in this game are basically your power-ups from Mario. So like fucking the Tanuki suit, or the fucking cape, or the fire flower, or whatever. So it's like, you see that on the back of the box. Wow, 80 abilities! Until you realize that 90% of these fucking abilities are either copy-paste jobs, or they serve no fucking fundamental purpose. Again, there's 3 ground pound costumes. Pounding Pig's only one of them.
Isn't there one that just like turns you into a box randomly?
That's Box Fox.
Or like, oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
Whenever it wants, it just turns you into a box.
I love the ones that specifically are like RNG. The ability just happens, and you have no control over it.
You have no control over it. You cannot move when you are a box. And if you are moving when you transform into a box, you continue to slide, which half the time results in you sliding off of a platform to your death. Not to mention, to get these costumes, you have to grind constantly.
Oh, God.
Who wants to fucking grind in a platforming game? Nobody.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And they cut out all the goddamn narrative and stick it in a fucking book because they want to do visual storytelling, and they just copy paste the same fucking dance numbers over and over again where a girl fucks a fucking dolphin. It's fucking nonsense. Oh, I fucking hate this.
I'm not gonna lie, in our build-up to recording this episode, waiting for James to rant about Balan was one of the things I was most excited for.
It gives me life. It gives me strength.
Like folks gotta understand, I talk to this man every day of my life. I've heard the Balan pain.
He witnessed the insanity firsthand.
I needed it to be in this condensed little capsule.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
A vitamin D tablet of
a vitamin B for Balan.
I've been soaking up the sun.
Vitamin D's nuts.
Now, and also, I've mentioned it before. I just want to make this fucking abundantly clear.
Uh-huh.
If you're fucking listening to this podcast and you fucking love Balan Wonderworld genuinely, I am unironically happy for you. I don't personally understand it, but good on you for finding enjoyment in that game.
Yeah, like he's gonna rage. He's very mad about it, but he's not mad at you.
This is not an attack.
Nobody's mad at you for liking a thing.
This is not an attack on you or your tastes.
Just like, don't be mad at us for hating Fear Street.
Yeah.
or God forbid if you hate the erased or if you love the erased live action movie.
Or Bye Bye Man.
Good for you.
or Halloween or fucking whatever. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah.
All right? I'm tired of this fucking tribalistic bullshit. I'm tired of it.
I think that's the perfect segue to now go into stuff that we loved this year.
Yes.
Let's do our love fest, because there was, we watched a lot of things together. We introduced each other to a lot of different pieces of media, different things we loved, and let's fucking go. Let's talk about
palette a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And I gotta say, this is one of the most fulfilling years for content that I've had in a long time. When I was building this list, I had such a hard time whittling this down to 10.
Me too.
And I think even just like my top 5, looking at it, I cannot believe I had the pleasure of experiencing all of these in the same year.
Same.
It's been a fucking trip. And that being said, my list is so overflowing, I'm going to rapid fire some honorable mentions.
Okay, so
I'm not going to give them like any time. I just they deserve to be said.
Mm-hmm. I have a single honorable mention as well.
Oh, then you go ahead. You go ahead and get it out there.
Okay. So yeah, my again, mostly I mean, I guess similar to Lee in a way, who consumes a lot of music that he doesn't get to talk about on the podcast. I play a lot of tabletop role-playing games in my spare time. I'm a big D&D fan. I'm big into like horror games. I have like a long-running Curse of Strahd campaign that I've been part of. And I wanted to give a special shout out to the Call of Cthulhu TTRPG. Because I did not experience it for the first time in 2021. I actually played in a like short campaign at the like very like late into 2020 for like Halloween. And I absolutely fell in love with it. And I was like, I want to learn how to run this game. So in 2021, that's when I started running Call of Cthulhu games. And I have run 3 so far. And every time I love it more. It's an absolutely fantastic system. I love the D100 system. I'm a huge fan of how they've adapted the mythos as creatures, and it's a great way to run a mystery. It's phenomenal. I really someday I'm gonna like run a one shot for you goons or something.
Oh, absolutely.
But, yeah,
I've got the D&D bug biting me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. I've been also experiencing a lot of other TTRPGs. Like I did Blades this year, Blades in the Dark this year. I did a couple of again Mythos related stuff, Delta Green, Fall of Delta Green. But Call of Cthulhu is the one that's just like was gonna be in my best of list. I just didn't quite make it in. Couldn't slot it between all of the other stuff. So.
Oh yeah. We always got to show some love to the tabletop games.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. Yeah. So just get my rapid fire out of the way. Just what a fucking year for content. Best book of the year was Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. About building mental resistance. He's a former Navy SEAL. This guy does not fuck around. Can't Hurt Me is a fantastic book. Wish Upon is a beautiful piece of B schlock that I will continuously keep watching. Erased is one of the most satisfying anime series I've seen in the past decade. Thank you, Kat, for showing me that. As well as the Autopsy of Jane Doe, which is also in my honorable mentions. Nice. Shout out to Godzilla vs. Kong, which was a fun romp.
Hell yeah.
The surprising success with me of the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Which that was a fun one.
I think we had thought about doing a podcast on that, and it was just basically going to be all of us going, yeah, it's good, go see it.
Yeah,
so
it's a good fucking movie, which is why it finds a nice little spot here, just getting a shout out.
Yeah.
Season 4 of Castlevania was fucking marvelous.
I still need to see season 2 and 4.
I need to watch all of it.
It is a fun ride.
Yeah.
My favorite band, Dream Theater, put out View from the Top of the World, which is a prog metal masterpiece. Fantastic manga, quintessential quintuplets. Nice slice of life, little lighthearted comedy romp. Early access lewd action game, Subverse. I'm hoping the developer starts putting some more time into releasing updates because this game has a lot of potential. And the best song of the year is a little band called Nightlife. They just put out their first 3-song EP. They have a track on there called New Low. It is what they describe as a fusion of like pop punk, soul, and just good old bass slapping. It is just a fantastic 3-piece band. And then the one that came very close to making my list, but just didn't quite eke it out, is Welcome to Raccoon City, the new Resident Evil movie.
Yes. All right. Well,
so just had to get those nice little mentions out of the way, because what a fucking year for stuff.
Yeah, no kidding.
So my honorable mentions, in terms of fun garbage fucking movies that I fucking adore. Shout out to Axum and Suburban Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Even though Suburban Sasquatch did lose me slightly because of a little bit of a thing.
Yep. Yeah.
But both of them were so delightfully terrible. In terms of garbage jank video games, I don't think I've laughed harder than when I played The Quiet Man. What a stupid
Christ.
fucking game, and I love it.
Oh, man.
In terms of something that was not jank, but was a fun little 80s throwback, I got a lot of kick out of The Turbo Kid, which is sort of like this little post-apocalyptic movie where everybody's riding around on BMX bikes and you got Michael Ironside chewing the scenery. A lot of fun. In terms of genuinely horrific fucking movies, The Color Out of Space, which I had almost forgotten was one of the first watch parties that we did this year.
Oh my god. Well, I had experienced it in 2021, so
yeah,
but
I didn't see it until it was
movie.
with you guys earlier this January. In terms of
yeah, dude.
In terms of spooky games, Mundon is a neat little first-person indie horror game, and the entire game is done in the style of pencil sketches, giving it a very unique aesthetic feel. The lead dev sketched thousands upon thousands of actual pencil sketches and scanned them into his computer and then mapped them on the various 3D models. It's a neat little horror game.
Fantastic.
Also on top of that, was something that you also experienced with me, Kat, is Devotion, which is a lovely first-person horror game by Taiwanese dev Red Candle Games. It was previously released a couple years ago, but it was basically banned because China and Winnie the Pooh memes. But it is fan-fucking-tastic. In terms of just quick rapid-fire duplicate shit, erased the anime and the Suicide Squad. My sentiments are the same as Lee.
Nice.
And then my final honorable mention, and this was going to be on my list, but I decided not to do it. And the reason why is the exact same reason as Cowboy Bebop, although it's slightly different, and that is Stone Ocean. I fucking love Stone Ocean.
Okay, but it's not finished.
And I don't necessarily feel comfortable putting it on there because I can't get more of it.
Sure.
But it would be, if I had the entire thing now and the last 20 plus episodes are as strong as the first 12, it would absolutely be in my top 5. That's how much I fucking loved it.
Beautiful.
All right.
Well, we're gonna kick this list off with a wet fart, as my number 10 is higher on someone else's list.
As is mine.
God damn it! All right, my number 10 is Godzilla vs. Kong.
Excellent.
Oh, okay.
This was actually potentially going to be bumped off because of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but because I decided to not put it on because we only have the first 12 episodes, this is an easy spot. I'm a big, long time Godzilla fan ever since I was 5 years old. It's one of the first pieces of media I can remember consuming between like that, Universal monster movies, specifically like The Wolfman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Godzilla's been part of my life for fucking forever. I've really been digging what Legendary Pictures has been doing with Godzilla and seeing Godzilla and Kong fight. This is our first podcast, so I'm going to try to keep this brief. But I'm the type of guy who fucking cries when fucking Mothra popped on screen in Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Moth Mama.
Moth Mama is our queen. It's the only time I unironically said Yas Queen, and I will never fucking say it ever again. It is a fun popcorn romp. It knows it's dumb. It doesn't give a fuck. And even though I prefer King of the Monsters more, it does fix the problem that some of the other previous Legendary monster films had, where it kind of focuses a lot more on the monster chaos. And I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, cool. Great pick, great movie. Hoping they can push another one out there and we can see another of the old classic monsters get its
hell yeah
modern day.
Give me
I'm here for
give me the fucking stupid. Give me fucking some of the worst monsters. Just do it. Just fucking do it.
Oh yeah, give me Manda.
Give me Manda. Give me Space Godzilla.
I want a rematch from Final Wars. I want Manda versus Don Fry Part 2.
Yeah, cast
Oh my
on Fry. The only, speaking of which, Kat, you haven't seen Final Wars yet, have you?
No, I have
All
not.
right,
That's a good
we gotta do that.
Oh yeah,
That and
Okay,
Shin
all right.
Godzilla, because Shin Godzilla is legitimately amazing.
Yes.
that's a great
That-
film.
It's that's one of those where I've always wanted to watch it, but like every time I'm like going to rent it, something stops me.
One last note: if we are talking legitimate kaiju, I want to see in the Legendary universe, Biolante. Give me Biolante.
Biolante is my second favorite kaiju, right behind Mothra. I feel like if they're gonna do another film, they need to have another major threat. I say bring in Gigan.
Gigan would be good.
Ooh. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Number 9 then is this is a fun one because this is a YouTube channel.
Ooh.
Okay.
I have become a gigantic fan of a man named Josh Strife Hayes. Josh Strife Hayes is a YouTuber who focuses on MMORPGs. He has a long-running series called Worst MMO, where he commits to playing a new MMO every week for 7 days.
Wow.
Has a very fair critique and analysis of the games, focusing specifically on things like predatory monetization schemes.
Okay.
And he got a lot of attention in this past year when one of his videos on Amazon's game New World started going viral, and it was highlighted by Asmongold, the world's number one World of Warcraft player. And in the span of maybe just a couple of months, Josh's channel went from maybe like 70,000 subscribers up to maybe he's at like 500,000 at this point.
GG.
Wow.
And I'm not one of the OGs. I am one of the many who came in with this new wave, and I am so glad I found this man. Delightful sense of humor, fancy dresser. He's a very comely man, but just very, very fair, intelligent analysis of a genre that sees a lot of highs and lows.
Yeah.
And I love that he focuses a lot of attention on, hey, this game may be free, but here's, predatory monetization tactics that are at work here that you should keep an eye out for. Just very smart analyses, great videos, great content. Josh Strife Hayes is where it's at.
Right
Cool.
on.
I'll check them out.
Hell yeah.
My number 9 is higher on someone else's list.
God
James,
damn it.
go.
All right. So my number 9 is PG Psycho Gorman.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Which, if you're unaware, is basically what if E.T. but replace the cute, friendly alien with Thanos, basically, and replace the lovable little child with a female Cartman. It is a completely vulgar and profane and violent movie that is so delightfully stupid and a throwback to like 80s cinema, like the type of kids movies that you would see in the 80s, except for this is a hard R fucking movie. And I just found it to be a lot of fun, especially just the how completely fucking serious the Psycho Gorman character is, and how he'll start to try to go off on tirades about and monologues about like the stuff he's seen and how evil he is, and the kids are just so uninterested in anything he has to fucking say.
I'm just dismissive.
Just so dismissive. I love the little musical band sequence where the little girl is singing "I'm the heckin' best." My favorite line of dialogue in that film is the little girl is trying to like give him a magazine so he can like kill time, and he's just like, petty displays of wealth. How can your short lifespans allow such narcissism? And she's like, yeah, but look at all the hunky boys. And he's like, I do not care for hunky boys. But then he stares at the magazine for a few seconds and goes, oh, do I? and it's just so wonderful.
It's probably my favorite joke of 2021.
Yeah, it's
honestly.
so good. And
it did not make my list at all, but
Just the joke makes
the
your
joke
list.
is
just
so
the joke
good.
makes my list.
And I was so fucking tickled that the ending credits theme was basically a throwback to the rap song from the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, where it's just a fucking rap song summarizing the events of the movie about Psycho Gorman, and it's just
fantastic.
It's so fucking spot on, and I fucking adored that goddamn movie. Lee, you need to watch it. It's a lot of fun.
I'll get on that one.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, you'd enjoy it for sure. All right.
That brings us to my number 8, which will be talked about at a later time.
God damn it.
Same.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, no, man, I don't have an original, I have no original bones in my body, at least not until number 6.
Jesus fuck.
Funny, it's the same thing for me.
Hey!
Well,
all right, James, how's your number 8 looking?
Kick it off!
My number 8 is The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Excellent.
Oh, yay!
So, once again, thank you, Kat, for introducing me and Lee to this movie. Similar to Erased. It was on my radar. I knew of it. I knew it was supposed to be very good. I am a fan of Emile Hirsch and Brian Cox. I just never got around to watching it. And we talked about this on a podcast, so I'm going to try to keep this brief.
Yeah, we talked about it on the Fear Street podcast.
Yeah.
Specifically because part of the twist of Fear Street reminded me of Autopsy of Jane Doe. And I was like, let's watch this done well.
Yeah, and just to mention or reiterate, in a lot of our watch parties, even when it's something we're enjoying, we're constantly talking shit. There's side chatter, there's heckling, there's riffing, there's all sorts of nonsense going on. And that's how it was for the first 20 minutes or so of Autopsy of Jane Doe. Mm-hmm. And then we were all fucking basically completely silent for almost the rest of the fucking movie, because it is such an absorbing, gripping horror movie that is just genuinely fucking creepy and chilling, and effective use of like a one location movie with a very limited cast while keeping the tension extremely fucking high. And that's basically all I have to say about that.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Yeah, excellent movie, excellent choice.
And since you guys said that your number
number 7 is nothing for me.
Is nothing for both of you. My number 7 is Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
Yes.
Hey, that's my number 9.
Nay, awesome.
Yeah.
As I said before, I am kind of mad that I like the movie, since I wanted to go.
Yeah.
I went in trying to hate it and expecting to hate it.
Oh god, we were like, man, Matrix was such a disappointment. Like, let's get ready for some garbage schlock that we can just rip on in our next podcast. And then it was like enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I thought conceptually the movie sounded terrible, because why would you try to adapt 2 video games at once? Because, I mean, like, there's plenty, you could easily make a movie out of the first Resident Evil, and you can easily make a movie out of the second Resident Evil. And the idea of merging the 2 and fucking up the timeline and inserting all these additional characters just seemed like a mess. And the movie's schlocky as fuck, but it's so much fun. It knows it's schlock. And I do want to take this time to rectify something that we forgot to mention in our podcast on Welcome to Raccoon City.
Oh, Jesus.
And that is Justice for Cow.
Justice for Cow.
At the end of the movie, when, spoilers, I guess, Raccoon
it's
City
not spoilers,
blows up.
Every Resident Evil project ends this way.
Raccoon City blows up, and they decide to showcase this by a wide shot of the city, and there's a single cow sitting on the field. And I just sat there,
chilling,
and I noticed the city was blowing up and the mushroom cloud was coming, and I just started screaming, "No, cow! Get away, cow!" And of course the cow is blown away, and I am very upset that cow was blown away. So much so,
fuck you, Umbrella.
So much so that I left an Amazon review 5 stars with #Justice for Cow as both the summary title and the body.
That got rejected.
That got rejected by Amazon for no real discernible reason. But I then submitted another.
I can't see a reason.
Yeah, I honestly, based on their criteria, there is nothing in it that indicates why it was kicked out. So it's like, whatever. I left a semi-legitimate review while also giving it 5 stars and then ended it with Justice for Cow. And as far as I know, that review has gone through.
There you go.
So just Justice for Cow. I can sleep soundly tonight knowing that I've corrected this.
Good.
Yeah. Kat, this is also on your list, correct?
Yes. This was my number 9.
Yeah, excellent. This movie fucking slapped.
Yes, absolutely. I had to have it on there because it surprised me so much.
Yeah.
You know, I came in with no expectations, and it just ended up being incredibly fun. Absolutely flawless casting and directing and acting for our 2 himbos. Leon and Chris.
The best use of
just
Leon
beautiful.
Had perfect himbo energy.
Yeah, I loved Claire. I loved Jill. Wesker was great, even though he didn't go as evil as I needed him to.
He was gonna shoot the kid.
I needed him to.
He was
I
gonna
needed him
ice
to
that
shoot
fucking
the
He
kid.
diced the fucking kid. Also, the best use of fucking licensed music in the entire goddamn year.
This is one of the most underrated soundtracks of
absolutely.
a while.
Absolutely.
Fucking the crush scene.
Crush scene won me
Opening
over.
with the Cardigans.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking
just so good.
Yeah, this is the Guardians of the Galaxy of horror films.
Yeah,
Yes.
If you're expecting a serious horror movie, you're probably going to be upset.
No.
If you're expecting it to be 100% faithful to the games, you're probably going to be upset. If you're willing to enjoy B-movie schlock and
it's definitely a watch it with friends with some beers and non-alcoholic beers and just fucking have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. So does this bring me to 6?
It
Yes,
does.
Okay, number 6. The franchise redeems itself with Kingdom Hearts: Birth by Sleep.
Oh my god!
Okay.
This is the prequel to the original Kingdom Hearts, and sort of sets into motion a lot of events that impact the finer points of the later games' plot. It is a unique game in that it has a 3-campaign system, 3 entirely different characters running their own storylines that dip in and out of their own levels and continuity, and a very, very well implemented combat system. I'm looking at you, Chain of Memories, with leveling different abilities and combining them in sort of like a fusion style to create new moves, but just handled in such a satisfying way that, every time you put a couple of moves together, you really did know what you were going to get, and you were super excited to get the new shiny toy and run out and play with it. This is the creation of some of the more ludicrous plot aspects that are pretty notorious in this franchise's history, but the pros absolutely outweigh the cons. Kingdom Hearts: Birth by Sleep was just an absolute joy to play through. So lands a solid, respectable number 6 on my list.
Nice.
Hell yeah! I'm glad you got 2 Kingdom Hearts rep so far on your lists.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
All right. Number 6. It'll be pretty brief because we talked about it already, because it was also on my disappointing list. Midnight Mass.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
interesting.
I think for those opening 4 episodes alone, it deserved a spot in my best. That was
fair.
Yeah,
okay.
that's fair. Yeah.
I thought the atmosphere, the setup, again, the depictions of addiction and counseling and the Catholic Church just being some of the most real and raw that I've seen on TV. If the show had stopped there, I couldn't have sung its praises high enough, basically. So yeah, I think even just probably up until the 5th episode, it's just a study in good writing. In good TV writing.
Nice.
So I know, a lot of people complained about the abundance of monologues, and really, I didn't even feel that until the last few episodes, where it just became that was when it really started to be like, okay, I get what you're doing. But
for me,
initially,
at least, I just want to chime in on that monologue bit too. Like,
mhm.
it isn't even so much that there are monologues in the last few episodes, or even the amount of monologues. It's just the monologues are so genuinely uninteresting or redundant.
Yes, exactly. Because then you have a monologue like the girl confronting the drunk about her, after she's been cured, about her injury.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Which is wonderful.
Or
It
any...
was like I was just like blown away by like that one in particular was just so brilliant.
Yeah.
And like contrast that with the final monologue and you're just like, what on earth is going on?
Like any of the fucking conversation scenes between the priest and Riley in the AA meetings. Like especially the later they get, when the priest is just kind of getting tired of the bullshit and whatnot.
Yes.
And he even just like breaks priest character and is like, no, bullshit. Tell me how you really feel, sort of thing. And it's raw and it's real and it's well written and it's well acted, and like
absolutely.
Even again, like we were giving him shit for his chemistry with the Kate Siegel, but like his acting in his scenes when he's reminiscing about the fucking drunk driving accident that got him in prison, it's raw and it hurts and it's like it's powerful stuff. So I can see that.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yep. So James,
that's a very fair move. I like putting that on the
the list.
Just for how strong that opening is.
Exactly, and just there are so many strengths to the show. I felt like it was really disingenuous, just of me personally, just to put it as a disappointment, just because really it wasn't disappointing until the very end, and that left such a sour taste in my mouth. But
that's fair.
Yeah. My number 6 is Dune Part 1.
This is my number 10.
Hey.
Oh, very nice. I actually forgot. Like I had considered it and I just didn't like think where to slot it in. But yeah, Dune was brilliant. Dune probably should have been one of my honorable mentions.
Well, it is now. It's your honorable mention.
There you go.
It's an honorable mention for me for sure, because my God.
Yeah, it's
Tell us about it, Jam.
It's not perfect, but it's damn close, I think, and it is just awe-inspiring and visually impressive and strong performances all around, and I'm just genuinely thrilled that more people get to experience the joys of spice and sandworms and this saga. And I my only regret is that because of this fucking pandemic, I couldn't see it in IMAX, because this is definitely a movie out of every fucking movie I have watched this year, this is the one I regret not being able to see in theaters.
Yeah. I believe we talked about it on the podcast for Dune, but Goon. But I totally agree, and I really hope they consider a re-release when the part 2 comes out.
Absolutely.
Just like, playing part 1 in theaters again, so we can do like a double feature.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
that'd be wonderful.
Once we can go outside again.
Yeah, and I fucking love this movie. And I still want to do a watch party, and maybe we'll do a podcast on it too, of the David Lynch Dune, since we all like David Lynch, and now we all like Dune.
We need Sting and a Speedo.
Yeah. And maybe we can also do it as a double feature with that whole documentary of Jodorowsky's Dune as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've been curious about that.
Yeah, I still have not watched that. I really want to, because everything I've read says it's a fantastic and super interesting documentary, and the bits and pieces I've read about the production of Jodorowsky's Dune, I wouldn't necessarily say a good movie would have come out of it, but it is an incredibly fascinating look into the mind of a madman. And brief side note tangent about Jodorowsky anyway, since it's kind of related to Dune. I don't really have any experience with him as a director outside of the fact that he made a movie called El Topo. And I'm bringing this up because El Topo has a very important role in my life. Lee, I might have told you this story before. Kat, I don't know if I've told you this story before.
I feel like you have, because I remember you mentioning El Topo, and
Many moons ago.
please tell.
Many moons ago, when I was a young lad.
This isn't the vegetable one, is it?
Yes, it's the vegetable one.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, I know this story.
Many moons ago, when I was a young lad, I was returning some video game or movie at Hollywood Video. And right next to the drop-off box was a copy of El Topo on VHS. Now, it didn't have the Hollywood Video label on it. It was just sitting there. So curious young lad James picked it up and decided to take it home. Because why not? Fucking free movie. Who cares? I don't know, 13, 14 years old. Who gives a shit? And I read the box at the back of the box, and it promises violence and sex and nudity. And what 13, 14-year-old boy doesn't want to see some violent, weird Western filled with nudity, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
damn right.
I never get around to watching it. It becomes a running joke with me and my circle of friends that I have this VHS tape, and just whatever. One day we're going to sit down and watch it. And that day finally came about 5 years later. And the first 30 seconds of the VHS tape were El Topo. And we see a man riding a horse with a naked boy. And the boy is presumably his son. And it's weird as fuck. And we're like, the fuck? All right, yeah, sure. And then after about 30 seconds, it cuts to home video footage of a man inserting various fruits and vegetables into his asshole. And
Jesus Christ.
And AJ was there, by the way, Lee. AJ was there.
Oh, of course Frosty was there.
We're all fucking sitting there, and we're like, what the fuck is this shit? And everybody's like, James, what the fuck are you why did you do this to us? Like, I have no idea. I've never fucking watched this tape before. This is the first time I'm seeing it.
You've had this movie
for 5 years. This cursed video tape.
Absolutely cursed tape in your house for 5 years.
And we fast forward to see, okay, does it cut back to the movie? And we fast forward through all 2.5 hours of this shit. No, it never does. It's just a 2.5 hour. It's a 2.5 hour video of a man inserting fruit and vegetables into his asshole, and then also using a penis pump to pump up his testicles and penis to like the size of a 2-liter bottle of Coke, and also masturbating. And we're just like, the fuck is this? On fast forward, we're like, it has to go back to the movie, right? It has to go back to the movie. And then we downloaded the movie, the actual movie afterwards.
And it was the same thing.
No. We just confirmed that like the movie exists, and then we didn't watch the movie. We just went off and I think we played Halo instead. You can never
watch the movie.
No, we can never watch the movie. We can never watch the movie again. And the best part about this was that then 6 months later, I had a birthday party at my house, and I had a bunch of my friends gathered together. And I threw on El Topo, just as a prank, just to get everybody's reaction to this.
The real one?
No, my VHS tape of it.
God damn it.
I still have it somewhere in this house.
Do you really?
I was about to ask.
Look, it is the one. It is the one copy of it in existence. I don't like it. Like it has to be preserved. All right,
that's gonna be how your Twitch channel ends. Will be El Topo viewing of El Topo.
I think if I can't remember if he actually did it, but at one point a buddy of mine who I knew in college wanted to take the tape and rip it onto his computer and then upload it as like 300 to the internet. I don't think that happened. But yeah, no, it's that's my one.
So anyway, Dune was great.
Dune was great, but I just
oh my god,
I just wanted to bring up that story because I don't know when I'll ever get to mention that story ever again.
You're gonna mention it when we talk about Jodorowsky's Dune.
No, I am not even
you will.
I'm not even going to acknowledge it.
Oh my
But
god.
yeah, and El Topo
Oh.
has been a reoccurring meme and joke within my
Oh,
circle
God.
of friends ever since. Of just like,
Of course it has.
Because again, how do you forget something like that?
How do you forget?
You can't. You can't. It's impossible.
That's magical. Well, speaking of inserting uncomfortable things into your ass, my number 5
God. Okay.
is Chris on Duty Modern Werewolf.
Oh
hey,
my god.
that was my number 10.
Wah,
All
wah,
right.
wah.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
No.
That was good kid.
I mean, I
RE
think he wants to
Village,
insert Lady D into his
Yeah.
asshole.
which
Okay.
this is interesting because
Please,
RE
James.
Village is one of the ones that climbed higher on my list after I played 7. So
Interesting.
RE7 is a first time experience for me this year. Wonderful game. Enjoyed my playthrough of it. Plan on doing a couple more to do some achievement cleanup.
Yeah.
And it only made me appreciate Village more. I think that
Interesting.
7 has such a powerful reputation because of how deservedly groundbreaking it was at the time.
Yes.
It
Yes.
emerged on the scene, and Jack came up to the dinner table and flopped his moldy dick out on it and went, "Look at it, boy!" And we looked at it.
Yeah.
And
It
we understood.
It brought back classic survival horror to a modern
Yes.
audience because, like,
Yes.
I've seen a lot
Absolutely.
of people. I've seen a lot of people shit.
It
on
really
7.
pulled back from 6.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people shit on 7 because it's in first person, and go, it's not a Resident Evil game because it's first person, and I'm like,
Fuck that. I adore
bull
first
fucking
person.
shit. Its core design is so fucking close to Resident Evil 1 with the Metroidvania
Absolutely.
aspect to
Yes. My first experience with the Resident Evil franchise actually was playing Resident Evil 7 in VR.
Oh,
And
wow.
That was like amazing. That's I think part of the reason why 7 has a very close spot in my heart, because
that's actually
that experience was great.
That's actually still a long overdue stream for me since I've never done 7 in VR. I was supposed to go over to Kat's house and play it in VR because she has PSVR, and then COVID.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Well, there's the yeah. But
That'll happen in a future.
Eventually.
But
someday.
Yeah, I think that everything 7 did, Village just doubled down on. I adore this fucking game. Yes, it does go through a big shift about halfway through. It's you can't argue the fact that Castle Dimitrescu and House Beneviento are by far the best parts of the game.
Yes. Those two in particular are why it made number 10 for me.
Yeah, this is a
strong.
powerhouse first half of a game. Moreau is a little bit of a bump in the road, but that's okay because he's the best. Moreau's a good lad. I'm the best. The Fuck Factory is dreadful. I try to give it some leeway, but the Fuck Factory is dreadful.
Yeah,
if that sequence were more engaging, this would rank a little higher on the list. But just tonally, I adore what it did. It hits so fucking right when it hits. I just think it needs a little extra love. I mean, 7 had a lot of extra additions come in after the fact with multiple game modes and expansions and extra features, and so far we've got Mercenaries.
Well, it is getting DLC. Yeah. They did confirm they're doing single player DLC. And that's actually one. But I don't think we talked about it on our Village podcast, Lee. One of the big things that kind of bums me out is the fact that Mercenaries is back to being single player only.
Yeah.
Yes. I really wanted to do Mercenaries with Kat or with anybody.
Yes.
Because
that was the main reason why
I got some Mercenaries.
Exactly. That was the main reason I did not plat RE8. I am literally one trophy away, and it's
the same one for me.
Yeah,
it's the only trophy I haven't gotten.
I refuse to learn a whole new game mode by myself that I would rather be playing with James or you.
Yeah.
I watched the playthrough guide of like how to platinum Mercenaries.
Yeah.
And the later stages of it can fuck right off.
That's what I hear.
Absolutely.
You have to play the hide and seek game with the doll while fighting monsters.
Oh,
like,
God.
go to hell.
I haven't.
No,
I haven't,
absolutely not.
I haven't even touched Mercenaries yet. I will at some point. It's a long overdue stream, but I'm not looking forward to it just because. Yeah.
And the only other thing that I'll say stopped it from being a little higher on the list is Village of Shadows is the most unnecessary difficulty I've played in a long time.
God.
Oh
Village
my
of Shadows
God,
is
yes.
So fucking awful.
I absolutely would never have played it if not for the like infinite magnum and fuck the Heisenberg fight on Village of Shadows.
Yes,
Yeah, Jesus
absolutely.
Christ,
That in
yeah.
particular.
Fuck it.
But everything else I thought was wonderful. Ethan has become one of my favorite Resident Evil characters. He's just a man on his quest for soup. I mean, he wants to get his daughter back and everything, but mostly he just wants a good pot of soup.
He really does.
Damn
Because
right.
it keeps getting taken from him.
Yeah.
RE Village, number 5, fucking stellar game.
Yeah.
Dope. All right. My number 5 is my last hashtag. So
Okay.
higher on
Oh
somebody's
my
list.
God.
I'm actually kind of surprised it made somebody else's list, but I'll talk about that when we talk about it.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
My
Jam.
number 5 is speaking of Capcom survival horror, Haunting Ground.
Oh,
Oh.
shit. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a game that I had always wanted to play, but I never got around to buying or playing in my youth. And then
Mhm.
when I wanted to finally get around to buying it, used copies were like $300 to $800.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to spend $300 to $800 on a used copy of a PlayStation 2 game because I don't have that kind of disposable income. I had been meaning to stream it. I wanted to stream it last year for not last year, 2020 Back to Ghoul. Didn't get around to it. Finally decided to bite the bullet and go through it. And man, holy fucking shit, I really liked that game. It's sort of a spiritual successor to Clock Tower. Specifically Capcom's Clock Tower 3, where it's like you play as a young woman and your goal is to, solve puzzles and navigate the environment while being chased by crazy psycho pursuers.
Yeah.
And
it was a very fun. I sort of guessed co-anchored
for the first couple ones,
the first couple. Yeah, and it was a blast. It looked so fun.
Yeah.
The music too was
so
really good.
Yeah, and it hearkening back to my worst list of Misao, this game handles like the fear and horror of sexual objectification and sexual assault well. Like
Yes.
it is not that, like, yes, the main character is wearing a skimpy-ish outfit, but it is not by her choosing. It has a narrative justification that this is an outfit picked out for her by the villain, and all of the fixed camera angles and elements of the cinematics just make you feel like you're just being fucking preyed upon, like by some peeping Tom. And it just really adds to the creep factor and the horror and just it was really well handled, and it doesn't shy away from it. It is like, no, this is a horrible fucking thing.
It's making you feel horrified, but not in a Misao way.
not in a Misao way where it's a badly handled plot twist. No, this is a core theme of the game. Objectification is a core theme of this fucking game, and it's horrifying and it's disgusting, and that's how you're supposed to fucking feel. And on like the brighter side, you get a fun dog friend who is just the absolute best. And it was just a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm so glad that I finally got to experience it. Capcom, please fucking goddamn remaster it and release it on fucking other goddamn platforms, so I don't have to fucking spend $800 to own a goddamn copy.
Yeah. Goddamn. All right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Number 4.
Okay, number 4. We're gonna tap into that music vein one last time.
Okay.
Best record of the year, and just such an outstanding achievement for this band, and it fits nicely into our generally like horror themed discussions here. Ice Nine Kills with the Silver Scream Part 2. This is a band that just kind of came into their own a few years ago with the Silver Scream Part 1. They are a cinematic metalcore group that, starting with an album called Every Trick in the Book, adopted a theme of having every song on the record be about a certain topic, very concept album style. And that one was about famous literature.
Oh, cool.
And starting with Silver Scream and now followed up with Silver Scream 2, every song on the record is a dedication to a famous horror film.
I think you mentioned that to me before.
Yeah, I brought them up. I think in passing on one of those "What have you been up to this week?" Closers to a podcast.
Yeah.
And now that I've really digested it, Silver Scream 2 is just a fucking achievement. The band has really come into their own and developed this unique theatrical sound, and they have homages to so many classics. The big closer, Farewell to Flesh, is a Candyman track. Assault and Batteries for Child's Play. I believe the one that they're getting the most recognition for right now, Funeral Derangements, is for Pet Sematary. It's almost like a fun game for horror nerds if you just like look at the track listing for the record and you try to figure out what each one is.
No, nice.
And they spoiled us with the choice for single and music video, Hip to Be Scared, which is their American Psycho track.
Love it.
Which halfway into the slamming metal portion of of the bridge, it's getting to this big breaking point. There's about to be a breakdown, and then it turns into a knockoff of Hip to Be Squared by Huey Lewis and the News.
Wonderful.
Where
fantastic.
Where the singer Spencer has a discussion with the singer of Papa Roach. Have you heard Ice Nine Kills? No, not really. Their early work was a little too scene for my taste, and when the Silver Scream came out, they really came into their own commercially and artistically. Like they just go into the scene in the middle of this fucking song.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
Yeah, these guys they've blown up in the past couple of years, and I'm so fucking happy for them. They were a smaller time band, which they had one of my favorite song titles of all time, which is The Fastest Way to a Girl's Heart is Through Her Ribcage. And they're continuing on this path to greatness. Ice Nine Kills, The Silver Scream Part 2 is the best album of the year. And this is a year where I had New Dream Theater come out. And it finds a nice little spot at number 4 for me.
Nice.
Nice. Very nice. All right. I'm not going to talk too much about my number 4 because I believe we have a future podcast for it planned. Mm-hmm. But I have a small story for this one. Earlier in 2021, I had actually this was right after I had gotten my second COVID shot. The first one, I reacted okay to. The second one knocked me on my ass. I had bad headaches, bad flu-like symptoms. It was rough. So sure. I took a weekend and just kind of, was spent healing, better than COVID, being healthy. And my lovely now husband, then fiance, decided that, okay, Kat, you're in a really rough place right now. Let's do something low key and just put something on in the background for you to watch that I don't know, we can just have on and enjoy something while you're recovering, while you've got ice packs on, heating packs on, and just trying to get through essentially the flu.
I'm so sorry for cackling. I know what it is now.
No. Yeah, you know what's coming. Because this is actually something James had been sort of pitching to me.
I had been whining about it for 4 fucking years.
To watch. Yeah, so hundreds of episodes later, I am a big fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure now.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, it ended up just making my 4 because holy shit, that this series is like everything.
It's such a fucking
anything
ride.
you could possibly want. There's so much brilliance about it, so much insanity. It's so much fun, and I could not stop once I started watching it.
So many himbos.
So many himbos.
So many hot villains.
Yes. I never thought I would pitch ancient Mayan stripper vampires to anyone, but here we are.
Yeah, it's
just absolutely brilliant. I am so excited. Like Stone Ocean, just the first 12 episodes, absolutely brilliant. Jolene is already my favorite JoJo, and I cannot wait for more. She's
great. She's great.
She barely edged out what's his face? Josuke. No.
Oh, Josuke was your favorite. Oh,
Josuke's my favorite. Yeah.
That's a good choice.
All right.
Yeah. But Joseph's a close third now.
Yeah,
but,
I believe James and I are both Team Joseph.
Yeah. Young
Fair enough.
Young Joseph is such a piece of shit, and I love him.
He's amazing.
He is such a fucking scoundrel. But
we will definitely talk about this more in an extended podcast once Stone Ocean has fully dropped. But I just wanted to. It had to make my list because fuck.
And I'm saying this now with fucking Niku, we're getting him on the podcast for fucking JoJo.
Absolutely. Oh, and the music. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Holy shit! Every new OP, I'm like.
Yeah, I remember.
I will listen to you 100 times.
I remember during our Erased watch party, and you were mentioning Erased kind of foreshadow stuff in the OP, and I'm like, yeah, JoJo's does that too, to an obscene fucking degree.
Yeah.
And then it fucks with the OP, and you're like, oh, Erased fucks with the OP, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna love JoJo's.
Oh.
And then oh god, and the licensed music end credits like fucking Roundabout.
Oh, so good.
Walk Like an Egyptian, Last Train Home, I Want You, Freaking You, the fucking weirdest goddamn choice, but Chef's Kiss. Why not?
Chef's Kiss.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, it's fucking delightful. But yes, this will be a future.
I'll
podcast.
withhold a lot of my. I'll withhold a lot of my JoJo comments for.
Exactly.
Until we get to the pod, but I'll just say it's a testament to how strong the franchise is as a whole. That every part, there is no weak link. They all are good at something. Like the fact that my favorite JoJo is from part 2, my favorite JoBro is from part 3, and my favorite villain is from part 4. Just says they all do shit super well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's I likewise. I don't want to get into too much outside of the fact that all my favorites
are from 4.
Outside of the fact that JoJo's is a very deeply personal series to me, even though I just got in the bandwagon very, very late. I've already told Kat this story. I'm not going to say it here. I'm just going to save that for the podcast when we do talk about it. But I'll just say it got me out of a rough place, and I fucking adore it, and that's why I pitch it to everybody, and I whine at them endlessly about it, and 9 times out of 10, people just go, fine, I will watch a little bit of it to shut you the fuck up. And then the next thing they know, they've binged 100 episodes in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's about how it happened.
Right.
All right, fucking yeah, that's a strong entry on that list there.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
We're
getting down to it.
Damn.
I think my number 4 is an equally strong entry, and that is Malignant.
Yes!
Yay! Yes, that's my number 7.
Malignant Balls. That's also my number 7.
Hey!
Beautiful. Hey!
Yeah. Gotta make everybody's list, man.
We did a podcast about
my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, same.
Honestly. Yeah.
Did a podcast about it. We'll keep it brief, but I think it's safe to say we all went into this movie with zero expectations, just based on how terrible horror had been throughout the entire year, and and because the trailer looked really, really bad, and then it turned
generic.
And then it wound up being wonderful B-movie schlock with a fucking goddamn big budget. God
damn, yes.
And it just went in so many...
I said on the podcast, I can't believe James Wan got my letters.
I can't believe this movie got greenlit. I can't believe that
Yeah.
this movie exists. I'd say maybe, like, I mean, if you listen to the podcast, we spoiled it before, but I don't want to spoil it here. But like, I wouldn't necessarily say that it will completely surprise you, since I jokingly predicted the plot twist about 15 minutes into the movie, as we were just
Yes.
theorizing what the fuck is going on. But this is one of those movies where when I jokingly predicted the plot twist, I was not pissed off. I was thrilled that the movie
Yes.
went in such a batshit fucking direction.
Yes, exactly. It was a, oh my god, are they gonna do this? Not a, it's gonna be this thing.
Yeah.
God.
Goddamn, what a beautiful fucking goddamn
Yeah, this movie's
schlocky movie.
delightful. If you want to hear us like wax poetic about this thing for an hour and a half, yeah, go watch our episode on it. We love this shit.
This movie is so
Absolutely.
fucking good. It's yeah.
Super strong number 4, Jam.
Yeah.
Just watch it.
We're getting
Yep.
down. We're getting down to the.
Top 3,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah.
We're at
Top
it.
3.
All
All
right.
right.
These 3 were so hard to number.
Yeah.
This was really difficult.
I have
But
a feeling one of them is gonna be the one that I
this
was
was a tough
surprised.
one. Number 3 is Other Side.
Okay.
Ooh.
Other Side
Yep.
is a turn-based action tactics game that has a whole lot more going on under the surface.
Okay.
It presents itself as a post-apocalyptic team of silver-haired, beautiful women fighting nightmarish creatures and trying to save the world. But what it's actually a story about is overcoming mental trauma and moving on from the past. The main antagonist of the game is a being called the Child, and the encounters that you're facing throughout the game are manifestations of his trauma, his abuse. He's a young boy who is cursed with immortality and has contracted the plague. So he's ruthlessly studied by plague doctors who know that they don't need to pull any punches on how they pull him apart to try and understand the plague.
Mhm.
He's thrown into the care of a deacon who is mentally and physically abusive and keeps him locked up in a cellar. And the one person who shows him any sort of love is the deacon's maid, who, as soon as the deacon discovers that she's taking care of him, throws her into the cellar so that she catches the plague from him, and the child has to watch her die because of his curse. And his sadness and his suffering manifests itself into this apocalyptic scenario that you have to confront. You're not just fighting monsters, you're helping this kid's journey. You're helping to cure him of not just a physical malady, you're trying to heal emotional wounds. And this game lets you know through a system of traits and scars that your characters, your daughters, acquire, that it's the people who have scars on the inside that are the most powerful. We're not perfect creatures. We have to come to terms with the things that have hurt and shaped us, and those are the things that make us more powerful.
Damn.
Other Side is a fucking masterpiece.
Nice.
Where's my video essay, Lee?
Yeah.
My video essay was on a laptop that was stolen 2 weeks ago.
No,
Fucking
fuck.
Christ, are you? Mhm.
So
Alright.
hey
Yeah, fuck
podcast
that.
listeners out there, that Other Side essay that I was talking about for a while, it got
No.
stolen
Oh my
because
God.
the Valley Jester doesn't believe in the cloud because he's old and the only clouds he cares about are the ones in the sky that he yells at.
Oh my God. I'm
So I'm
sorry,
starting from
man.
square one on that
Okay.
on that project, but honestly, it's a
I mean,
testament to the game that
And it's gonna be glorious when you do bring it out.
It's
Now
a-
it's draft 2.
it's a testament to the strength of the game that I still have the drive to do it.
Hell
You know,
yeah.
it's not a project that, you know, it got taken away from me and, oh man, you know, it's gone. I don't have the luster for it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
No, this game has a message and it needs to be heard.
Damn.
Powerful soundtrack with great guest features. Halicene, who's a very successful YouTube artist, and the greatest song on the soundtrack, the Child song. It's a banger of a boss theme featuring the frontman of Periphery, who's a progressive metalcore group.
Okay.
Fucking outstanding soundtrack, gameplay, visual aesthetic, balanced play. Very difficult, but in that rewarding way. It's very Darkest Dungeon. It's nothing short of perfect. So yeah, this is interesting that I like all three of these top choices. I would classify as 10 out of 10s.
Yeah.
Other side is a masterwork.
Awesome. All right. So my number 3 was it was definitely a struggle to get these top 3 kind of like picked out. But so 2021, I kind of got a little bit more into manga reading.
Okay.
So I just kind of started picking up some stuff that I had like fallen by the wayside, and just you know, sort of like I wanted to get more into it and I just never had, or there was like a series I started and didn't finish. Of course, me being me, I started with horror, and I would be remiss to not include a manga I experienced for the very first time in 2021, written by the horror genius Junji Ito.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. So Censor is my number 3. Yeah. I don't know if you've read it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a book about a girl who goes on a hike and discovers this weird village in the middle of the mountains. And it seems like they've been waiting for her. And it's this village covered in these strange golden threads, and everyone in the village can psychically talk to one another, and they have some very strange connection to some ethereal being. And while she's there, they decide to try to commune with this being, and they reach out deep, deep into space, and something else talks back. And from there, the book just goes in an absolutely insane direction. There are so many twists and turns and reveals, and you slowly realize that this girl did not just happen upon this village, that everything is connected, and oh man, it's a trip. It's brilliant. In addition to that, I also finished, I had experienced the first part before, but I finished Uzumaki. So that was what like started me on that journey. So, I mean, and you know, I've read so many of his short stories before. I also read Ramina for the first time.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
That one did not make my list because I think of the two, Censor was stronger, just in general. But Ramina is also great. I just, like, wow, Censor blew my mind.
Yeah, Ito's got such a fucking distinctive style.
Absolutely.
And Censor is one of the ones that I haven't gotten around to yet, but I think you've definitely you've piqued my interest with this one.
I'll let you borrow my copy if you want.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you know, like also always support artists, but you know, it's good. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I gotta throw out a mention to I've been packing a lot of orders for work, and I kept running across copies of a book that I didn't even know came out, but holy shit, I need to read this. Junji Ito wrote a fucking bizarre slice of life manga about himself and his cat.
Yes. And his cats are drawn like Eldritch Horror.
And his cats are like the Garfield memes.
Yes.
I don't know when this thing was unleashed upon the world, but I just started seeing copies of it pop up like the past 2 weeks or so while I've been packing orders, and I don't even know what to make of it, but I have to get around to it at some point.
Yeah, I really want to read that one at some point as well. I've read like parts of it online, and I believe he also kind of has like a slight mention of it in one of his books too. I don't remember if it was Romina or Censor that had like an excerpt from it, but yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
the cats are wonderful.
That's a strong pick.
Yeah.
All right, which brings us to Jam number 3.
Jam.
My number 3. It's a video game. Full disclosure, I haven't beaten it yet. However, once I say the title, it should explain a lot. It's Shin Megami Tensei 5. This is a fucking lengthy, dense fucking JRPG that I've also been trying to balance in between all the extra life shit and all the other fucking nonsense that I've been doing. However, after the 25 hours that I have spent in this game, even though that is most likely not too far into the game, it would have to do a lot to get it to tumble. So, like, caveat that, like, yeah, the game is not completed yet, and maybe it shits the bed later on, but it is so fucking strong right now. It is a refinement of basically everything that the Shin Megami Tensei franchise has done up until this point, while evolving it and including new elements like fucking 3D open world Breath of the Wild style platforming, which is kind of weird and interesting and unique while still being a turn-based JRPG, once again proving to Square Enix that this is a viable format and they don't need to go with whatever the fuck they're doing for most of their shit. I know you like the Kingdom Hearts franchise, Lee, but I'm so mad at FF7 Remake. Yeah, but yeah, I love rejecting God. That's
of course you do, Jam.
Yeah. On a side note, I didn't bring it up, but on just this other note, I told Kat this.
Not another vegetable story.
No, not another vegetable story. It's a brief thing.
So I bought what I thought was Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. I also haven't finished the playthrough yet, Lee, but after some of the shit that I was going through, I was really half tempted to put Kingdom Hearts on proud mode as part of my worsts.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, proud mode is
fair.
Proud mode is really pissing me off, especially with some of the jank in OG Kingdom Hearts 1.
Proud mode.
That's the giant asterisk. Proud mode. Normal mode, it's probably fine. Would not wind up on worsts at all. Just fuck proud mode. But I love you, Lee, and I love watching you play.
I feel you absolutely. Proud mode.
All right.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about rejecting God.
That's great. Yeah, I have no experience with the franchise other than watching you play it.
Yeah,
in the background.
The only thing I can really say about it is I've seen a couple people pop into my stream and be like, "Oh, this is just Pokemon," and the franchise has actually been around longer, like a decade longer before Pokemon was even a thing. It's Pokemon, but you're collecting demons instead. And it's actually
not Pokemon at all.
No, it's not. It's not in the slightest. And it's also based on a Japanese, like the origins. The first couple SNT games are actually based off of a Japanese novel series.
Except for Shuckle. Shuckle's a demon.
Yeah. Fuck Shuckle.
Shuckle is definitely a demon.
Fuck Shuckle.
Also,
I released that motherfucker.
Also,
all my homies hate Shuckle.
Just on the brief note of Pokemon, just so it gets out there, hashtag Team Bulbasaur, best starter.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Team Bulbasaur.
Fire starters all the way.
Charmander,
baby.
It depends on the game. Charmander's a cutie. I love Charmander. I love Squirtle.
Yeah.
But in the first game, it's Bulbasaur. It's always Bulbasaur.
Yeah, Bulbasaur.
The only time I didn't do fire was the fire pig, I think. Because I was so tired of firefighting combos.
No. Pounding pig is in Balin.
Oh, man.
Yep. All right.
Brilliant.
Okay,
Number
strong choice there.
2.
Okay, number 2. Fuck, let's talk about Arcane.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, I knew it was gonna be on your list. That's my number 5.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single episode of this.
Fuck.
I am so okay. Here's the thing to get out of the way right out the gate. This series is fucking great, whether or not you know a thing about League of Legends.
Yeah.
I've been playing League of Legends since season 1.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
This game is currently going
Today
into its
I learned.
12th season.
Mm-hmm. Do you still play League?
Off and on.
Okay.
I'll reinstall it every now and then. Pull out my old best character, Twisted Fate. Shout out to Twisted Fate. Shout out to Swim Team General. Let's see if I still got the skills with my boy. I also play a mean Seraphine, but I started playing this back less than a year after it launched. And this series, first of all, visually, this is the most pleasing 3D show I've ever watched.
Yeah.
This
Absolutely.
animation was so fluid, so beautifully done. It chose a great group of characters from the admittedly bloated cast to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Telling the story of two sisters who grew up together and were driven apart by class warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of finding their own paths. One of them getting some hard prison time, and one of them being raised by a crime lord, and then just seeing how their paths converge again.
Mm-hmm.
And the story that they tell is so it's such a character piece. I think it's the big takeaway here.
Yes.
They focus on maybe 6 characters super intimately, and then another secondary cast of like 8 that are really important.
Yeah.
And the attention that they give these characters, the breathing room they give them to develop naturally and organically is wonderful. It's one of the most I don't even know where to go with this. This show is so pleasing on every level.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can kind of jump in here because I know almost nothing about League. I've read some of the lore, but I really couldn't, other than the writing being really good, I couldn't give a shit about most of the the stuff in the backstory because I've just never been a fan of League. I tried it for early before I started working with James. I applied to Riot, or I was applying to Riot, and they were like, the person who advised me to apply was like, you got to be level 10 in League, and I'm like, okay, I will play. And that community is so toxic.
Yes,
to new blood, and I am far too old and far too female presenting to want to fucking deal with that shit anymore. So I just I bailed before I basically I think I got like 5 levels in and I was like, I'm done. Good luck. Bye everybody. But I will say I've always loved their promotional stuff, like their music videos, and their I think they've always done some insanely aesthetically pleasing trailers, and
absolutely.
Apex Legend has kind of aped off of them, and so have a lot of Overwatch, but Riot's really kind of the first ones that started doing that. And man, if Arcane isn't the ultimate goal of that,
it's the
holy
final
crap
form.
It's the final form. It's
Mothra came
hey,
out of the cocoon.
This behemoth of a franchise that's made billions and billions of dollars, let's put that into making actual art. And you're just like, mwah, more of this, please.
And massive bonus points to also having one of the most authentic, positive LGBT relationships in recent media.
Yes, absolutely.
Since we're not doing spoilers, I won't get into that, but this is a very, very well done LGBT presentation.
Yes, and I will say I don't think it's a flawless show. That's why it was number 5 for me. Two of my biggest criticisms are one is kind of a bit double-edged because I feel like in some ways it was actually refreshing, but in others it was kind of like a little bogging to me, like bogged down the show a little. It's very tropey.
Okay.
There's a lot of, like you've got and a lot of it is the characters from League are just tropes, right?
Yes.
Like you see them and you're like, oh, what is the, and then you're like, oh, I get it, because this is how the League character is.
Yeah, they want to appeal to certain buyer types.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna hit this trope. You're like, the crazy chick trope. It's like,
yes,
we
exactly.
need to make that Harley Quinn money.
Exactly. You've got Harley Quinn. You've got it's just there's a lot of that. And it felt like the story too was fairly predictable, but I actually like in terms of I've actually found it kind of refreshing in a way, because so much media these days is trying to pull the wool over your eyes, to pull the Game of Thrones subverted expectations. And it was really nice to see a show just say, yeah, we're going to use this trope. Yeah, we're going to present it as is, unironically. And we're just going to do it really well. And I was just like, fuck, cool, awesome. That was great, but my other criticism is an actual criticism. I hated the music.
Oh, well, yeah. For those out there who haven't watched Arcane, the opening credits is Imagine Dragons,
and they appear in the show later.
Who can kiss the fattest part of my ass?
So I'm never going to watch the show.
They literally have them as characters later when they first go into the Undercity or whatever.
Canonically, Imagine Dragons.
You can
immediately tell because they're not character designs, and they're you're like, oh, that's the band. Oh, that's just the actual band. Why? Oh God, they put the actual band in the show, and it's not good. I get why. I get that there's a big history of music video tie-ins with it, but it didn't do it for me at all.
It goes a little deeper. Imagine Dragons has a history with League. They've done the theme songs for the World Championships 3 or 4 times.
Okay. I mean,
Imagine Dragons is kind of the band of League.
Gotcha. And that's fine. It was the only time I've ever it was the only time I've ever skipped an OP for an anime.
Oh, I skip it every time.
Every time.
Hell yeah.
I was just like, I can't. I watched it the first time and I was like, cool visuals. Can't listen to this. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm
sorry.
You skip the intros until it pulls that Jojo thing on episode 8, where it's just suddenly a different intro for one episode, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, it didn't do that, right?
Oh, it did.
Oh, did it? Oh, I skipped it immediately.
Yeah. There's an alternate intro on one episode.
Okay, I'll have to go. I'll have to go watch that. I thought the soundtrack work that was not, because I also thought that even the stuff that wasn't Imagine Dragons was just way too on the nose. I was just like, okay, you're literally just singing. Like, this isn't a musical. Don't sing about what's actually happening on screen. I don't know. I found it tacky.
That's fair.
So
I think that such a strength comes from the fact that they could have just rest 100% on the successes of the game, but it took steps to create new characters, which as someone who didn't play the games, you wouldn't really know who to say is new or fresh.
I did not notice at all, but I liked all the characters.
Basically, a lot of them that you saw were characters pulled straight from the game that you can play as. Vi, Jinx.
Well, yes, it was especially obvious during certain fight scenes where clearly an ult would happen, and I was like,
yes,
oh yes, this is the cue.
But a character created specifically for the show is Silco, the crime boss who raises Jinx.
Oh, really?
He's arguably,
great.
I think he's my favorite character.
Yeah, he's really
something
good.
Created specifically for this show, and he's one of the most 3-dimensional, fleshed out antagonists I've seen in a long time. I adore Silco.
And I think that probably part of it is that he's for the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I I also liked that, like, I couldn't tell who was part of the show and who was part of the games and who wasn't, because everyone seemed to have that same level of like character and background. Like, they felt like real living, breathing people who grew and changed and had hardships. It's a tragedy. The show is a tragedy.
Hell yeah.
You know, like, it is not a happy-go-lucky thing. It is whew, it's rough. It left me feeling so empty because I was like, I want to know what happened. Like, you broke my heart, Arcane. Come back.
Hell yeah. So, you know, regardless of whether or not you're a fan of the game, you know, Arcane is a banger of a show. It is it's greenlit for a second season. So, you know, get on it, folks. Arcane's the shit. So that's my number 2.
You guys really lost me at Imagine Dragons.
I'm sorry, James. I swear it's brilliant except for that.
I just removed it from my watch list.
Oh no, James.
Okay.
We'll make you watch it at some point.
Right? Yeah, I mean, it's fair. I subjected you to a lot of bullshit.
Exactly.
Subjected you to Axum.
Exactly. All right. Keep this train going. My number 2. I have mentioned it before on the podcast because I was desperately trying to finish this before our lists were finalized. And I loved it so much, I'm playing it again on my stream.
Hell yeah, you are.
It's Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. So, yeah. I've been a player of this franchise since like the early aughts. My first game with them was, I think, Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper, I want to say, was the one. Okay. And then I kind of went back and like played some of the other old ones, like the Cthulhu one that they did, and versus the Arsene Lupin, and, you know, a bunch of other those games, and they were jank as heck.
Especially what was that one?
Oh, I never played
Mystery of the Mummy.
First ones. Yeah, the Mummy one and the Silver Earring I've never played, but yeah I mean,
well, you were there with me for it.
I was there with you, and yes, it's rough.
It was especially bad with it crashing every 10 minutes.
Yes, but the thing is, that studio has gotten so much better over the years.
Yeah.
Where they started with this franchise that, you know, a little bit janky. It really only appealed to like the hardcore adventure audience like me, who's willing to sit through a bunch of, you know, really janky mechanics just to get a good mystery story, a mystery adventure story.
Sure.
But like sticking with them and now seeing The Testament of Sherlock Holmes, Devil's Daughter, Crimes and Punishments, and now this, I'm just like, it's amazing. It's amazing to me that to watch a studio grow and just develop and become, like, you know, able to compete on such a huge level, like up there with AAA, you know, AAA budgets for detection stuff. Like, they're the way they handle like the cases and you solving everything and the actual detective work is brilliant. I mean, that being said, not a flawless game by any means. They bite off a lot more than they can chew with certain mechanics. Combat is terrible. So I definitely have my criticisms about the game, but I think, you know, it gives a very accurate portrayal of the time period. It even came with a content warning, being like, hey, we're not going to shy away from some of these darker themes, and, you know, this is your warning that this is, you know, we're not going to whitewash this. We're not going to pretend bad stuff like this didn't happen, because it did, and this is what we're presenting. And boy, does it get to some really, really heavy stuff.
Good.
Which I might actually be getting into like later this week on the stream. And it was the first game in a very long time that left me with a moral choice between 3 options, where I actually had to pause the game for an hour and think about what I was going to do.
Nice.
Because it was so, like, it was such a brilliant, I could go on and on and on. I'm in love. I bought it on 2 platforms, so I could plat it twice.
Hell yeah.
I mean, you sold me on the franchise anyway. I mean, mostly because of the fact that you forced the entire franchise upon me. And I will be going through the
Damn right I did.
I will be going through the entire franchise at some point with you once I slot out
Hell
more
yes.
time. Because I got to go through
Hell
that
yes.
Silver Earring thing, and then we'll eventually get to
Yeah.
the better ones. But I am
Mhm.
I have been trying
I think
to.
you'll like Cthulhu. Cthulhu's a fun one.
I'm super looking forward to that. I have been not super attentive during your Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 streams, just so I don't get spoiled on it. Just because of the fact that it's like, I know I'm going
you'll
to
play
get
it
there
eventually.
eventually. But yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that you really, really enjoyed it. And I remember when I sent you the Yahtzee review, and like, oh god, oh no, what did he think? I was like, nah, he was actually pretty chill with it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's real good. All right, Jam, your number 2.
My number 2 has a giant fucking caveat because I had watched half of it beforehand and half of it with you guys.
Oh,
and that is
it's you.
Twin Peaks: The Return.
Oh shit. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Twin Peaks is my number 8, and I just have the whole of it because I experienced the whole of it for the first time in 2021.
Kat, our lists are very similar.
Oh really?
That's also my number 8.
Hey, I did something good.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
You did a thing.
God damn, dude. We've talked so much about Twin Peaks on this podcast.
2 full fucking podcasts about Twin Peaks.
Yep.
So yeah, for me specifically, it's The Return because I had already seen the first 2 seasons and Fire Walk with Me like 10 years ago, maybe a bit longer. I had watched roughly the first half of The Return when it was airing, but that was back when I was at Naughty Dog working with Kat on Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and without going into details, there was a lot of crunch, and I just wasn't in the mood to have David Lynch fuck my mind.
I think you said you got to the black and white episode, and you started it, and we're just like, nope.
Yeah, something like that.
Not tonight, Lynch.
Not tonight, Satan.
And yeah, I conned Lee and Kat into watching the entirety of the series by whining at them incessantly over years and years and years and years, and they finally gave in because what the fuck else are we gonna do during this pandemic? And it finally allowed me to watch the last 8 or 9 episodes of The Return, and I was so happy with it. I mean, yeah, it's not perfect, and yeah, Dougie gets fucking annoying, especially as we're sitting there we want Cooper, but
hello,
but just I think it was overall worth it with how things pay off, and how much of a positive force Cooper was as Dougie throughout the entirety of that fucking series, and it's just so weird, and it made you give a shit about Bobby, and it doesn't it doesn't like do the whole endless fucking nostalgia like The Matrix does. Like, yeah, there's nostalgia, but it's used sparingly and like effectively.
Yeah. As far as I remember, there were like 2 scenes basically. There's the one where Bobby sees Laura's picture.
And it's so fitting, and it hits you so fucking hard.
And probably the very end where Laura and Cooper are walking.
Yeah.
That like those are probably the only bits where it's like, oh yeah, these are direct references to the original.
Yeah.
But yeah. And everything else is just
it's so weird and such strong performances, and Kyle MacLachlan is great. Fucking Laura Dern as fucking Diane is just chef's fucking kiss.
I'm still mad she wasn't a tape recorder, but you know.
Yeah, it's not perfect. We got to see the final performances of some fantastic fucking actors. Kathleen Coulson, I believe is her name, the woman who played the Log Lady, Harry Dean Stanton, Miguel Ferrer, and just it was. It doesn't completely wrap Twin Peaks up because in typical David Lynch fashion, fuck you. But if this is the end of Twin Peaks, I am satisfied after waiting a fucking decade for a goddamn ending.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. A satisfying conclusion. And some
Yeah.
really brilliant episodes. That black and white episode is just should be
That was
big screen viewing.
fucking horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my
brilliant.
inclusion of it on the list incorporates everything because I binged the entire franchise into this year. And yeah, definite highs and lows. There were some, you could say, peaks and valleys.
Womp womp.
Oh.
The lows were all James scenes in season 2.
There's
James.
the rough James scenes.
Yeah,
in
fuck
season
me.
2. But there's some extreme highs, like the entirety of Fire Walk with Me is fucking outstanding.
Yeah.
Amazing, yeah.
Realize is just fucking and sure.
Wow.
Shirley, just holy shit.
Oh my god, she's
I have a hard time believing that back when the first couple seasons were on TV, that it was this like accepted. Like when I saw the Entertainment magazine cover with like 3 of the leads, I'm like,
where it was like water cooler
shit.
talk.
Like I'm just used to David Lynch's shit kind of being like for the weird artsy people. Like the fact that this was a major major series, just like, fucking blows my mind. But
what does it say about society?
Yeah, start with Twin Peaks and end with fucking 90 Day Fiance farting in a jar.
Oh Jesus! Let's not.
Yeah, and
let's not talk about that.
Yeah, just the strength of the series is a strong cast of characters. If Cooper is Jonathan Joestar, then Hawk is waifu Speedwagon.
Hawk is great. Deputy Andy is too pure. Lucy is too pure.
Yeah.
Sheriff Truman is a saint.
Wait, so who's Dio?
Dio's Bob. Although
the rape sphere.
I love that is a completely accurate thing to call him.
I don't know.
You know the villain of Twin Peaks, the rape.
Oh, maybe Wyndham
is it
Earl.
Evil Coop?
Maybe Wyndham Earl.
Wyndham Earl.
Wyndham Earl.
There you go.
There it is.
Evil Coop is more Kira, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Wow.
So that was my number 8.
Yeah,
same.
It's just I guess the only thing I can end my gushing with is I'm so tired. Give my coat.
I'm so tired.
Audrey.
I'm gonna write you out of the story if you don't get my coat.
It has been a long podcast. Thank you all for sticking with us, but we made it. Number 1.
We're here.
Number 1.
Our number 1 best of 2021. Lee, kick us off.
Absolutely. I want to amend a statement I made earlier when I said, it's so hard picking the order of these 3 because they're all 10 out of 10s. My number 1 is decidedly not a 10 out of 10.
Ooh.
And I will openly admit that.
Gasp.
The troubled history of it, its troubled release. Cyberpunk 2077 is a fucking masterpiece.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Cyberpunk 2077 deserves a lot of the flack it gets.
Okay.
CD Projekt Red promised way too much, and they couldn't deliver.
Yeah.
Instead of cutting back features and releasing a working title, they tried to honor their commitments and released a mess.
And then shaded a blame at QA in the apology.
Yeah.
Always a good look. Never do that.
I will make zero attempt to try to redeem CD Projekt Red for how they handled the situation, how they handled the development of this game. But the amount of work and care that did go into it from these developers, this game is unreal. The best way I heard it phrased was from my partner in crime, Austin, the Shabacus, who said, "I only wish that people could have had the experience with the game that I had."
Fair.
This game is a completely immersive experience. It is one of those rare instances where you don't just lose yourself in playing the game, you do really feel like you are a part of this world. Night City is the most well executed overworld in all of gaming to me. It gets all this negative press of like, oh, look at all these people walking around the city. They're just like walking NPCs. Like, why aren't they doing unique stuff? It's like, I want you to look at what this game is doing and compare it to other products out there. The fact that these characters are all, walking around and just doing their thing in this completely filled to the brim with content world, it feels like a living, breathing city. You're getting upset that one doesn't like stop and pick his nose for 5 seconds or something like.
Yeah, I think a major problem is that they were promised exactly that, right?
Yeah.
It's people coming in with exceptionally high expectations, which were fed by the developers or by the, the higher ups who were who were advertising all these things that were just untenable in the end. But I can't blame them, but I can't blame people for being disappointed, but I do appreciate that, like, your take on it being that, like, this is still one of the best living, breathing, open world, like worlds.
Environments, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
I've seen people with legitimate gripes about this game being, okay, your character has an apartment you can go to. Mm-hmm. You can decorate the apartment with stuff that you collect through storyline progression. Mm-hmm. You have a vault for your weapons. You have a bed that you can sleep in. You have a couch you can sit in and turn on a TV that actually runs programming. It runs programming. It runs commercials and talk shows. There is a mirror where you can look in the mirror and do like 6 different facial features of just like you mugging around. And I had someone with a legitimate gripe of, why can't I take a piss in the toilet? Immersion broken. Like,
Death Stranding did it.
Fuck out of here with that. So to just, gloss over it is,
I want to make piss bombs, Lee.
Yeah, Girardi. Yeah, just to give the skinny on a little bit of all these features. Massively immersive world. The narrative is wonderful. A big complaint is that the 3 separate life paths, Nomad, Street Kid, and Corpo, don't feel different enough. Okay. Which there are ways that your choice of life path implements your decisions in the game, but the strength of the narrative that's being told is more powerful than all these little alterations that you could theoretically be able to make with these branching life paths. It's like,
sure,
the strength of this story can't be compromised by an incessant need for, I want my class to feel different from the other class.
Yeah,
the story told in Cyberpunk as just a narrative is beautiful.
Cool.
It is a deep, rich world about political corruption, commercialism, our sanctity of the flesh itself, God-given rights. It's a haunting little, gateway into what our world might look like, because this game tries to tackle a lot of the issues of like, well, our society the past, 10, 20 years has been going this way. Let's entertain what it would be like if it kept pushing that envelope further. Amazing leading performance by Mr. Reeves. Keanu Reeves is Johnny Silverhand, who's a great character.
Fuck yeah.
Wake the fuck up, Samurai.
That's right. Wake the fuck up, Samurai.
I have a follow-up question once you're done gushing.
Yeah, the big one I need to give some love to is when you start the game, you get you take your pick of which voice you want your character to have, male or female. Mm-hmm. Full voice acting for both, obviously, which is a wonderful testament to these 2 actors because of how much dialogue is in this game. Mm-hmm. The female V, Sharami Lei, I believe her name's pronounced, the greatest voiceover performance I've ever heard. She not just outshines her also talented male counterpart, she's incredible. Got the characters, the performances, the environment. The game suffers a little bit from strange difficulty curve. The, admittedly comedic bugs and glitches that still pop up, which unfortunately the console players are just going to have a harder time with. The PC versions that I played ran pretty damn well.
My husband played on PC and he really enjoyed it, but we saw some people really struggling with consoles.
I have the Xbox version and I haven't touched it because I've been waiting for the Series X version. So and that hasn't come out yet.
You should.
So it's been sitting unopened for a year now.
Jesus. As a follow-up, Lee, have you played the Cyberpunk TTRPG ever?
No.
Okay.
All of my D&D tabletop stuff is homebrewed.
Okay.
With the exception of some 5e, but I'm very tempted to play it.
Yeah. I've heard good things. But Cyberpunk has never been an aesthetic I go for. So, but yeah, apparently it's a great system. So
yeah, it's got.
And I was kind of wondering if it compared at all, because I know it's based on that to some degree.
It's not so much based off of the rule set of the tabletop game, but it does pull characters specifically from that world, like Johnny Silverhand.
Yes, yeah, that's and like factions in that world, and
yes, the Nomad, or Asaka.
I guess I was actually curious if it pulled any mechanics, because like the Call of Cthulhu game does actually pull like dice rolls essentially.
Oh, interesting. No,
it's very weird.
No, this plays not as, I wouldn't call it looter shooter.
It looks like more of a Fallout style.
That's much more accurate. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels very much like a Fallout system, but integrating a quick hacking system on enemies to kind of act as like your quote spell casting.
Very cool.
So like since synthetic augmentations are such an important thing in the universe, you can be in the middle of a gunfight and then hack into your target's hardware and like short circuit their ocular implants. So they'll go blind and start shooting in random directions.
Oh, that's really cool.
If they're using like a high-tech grenade as opposed to just like a pull pin, you can start the detonation process on their pocket.
Oh, that's great.
So just cool shit like that.
Yeah.
I can't gush enough about the characters. Judy Alvarez, Panam Palmer, Carrie Uridine. Just like, it's such a rich cast of characters. Fun gameplay. I've put 400 hours into it.
Wow.
I think 400. I no-lifed the fuck out of this game. When it came out, it was my escape from the quarantine.
Yeah.
I would joke with the rest of my housemates, which they were also all playing Cyberpunk and as jazzed about it as I was.
Nice.
We joked that for like the first 3 months, we lived in Night City.
Oh.
Because just like, fuck the quarantine, we live here now.
Absolutely.
So
that's awesome.
I will sing its highest praises while recognizing its troubled development and unscrupulous business side. As soon as you can get your hands on this game, if you're hesitant about committing to something that could still be buggy for a high price point, wait for a Steam sale. It occasionally goes to like 30% off. This game is absolutely worth $40. I regret nothing about paying full price for it. But just because some people might have a little hesitation.
Yeah, I think I'd personally wait for myself. I'd wait for a sale.
That's fair.
Just because somebody in my household already owns it, so
Sure.
Oh well, yeah. There you go. But just on a first time playthrough and not completionist style, of a run of the campaign will probably take you 60 to 80 hours.
Okay.
That's not too bad. That's not
And then
because I was expecting like Witcher levels, and I'm like, oh,
well,
I don't know if I can get Witcher levels.
it is Witcher level. But that's because I'm trying to think of more just like if you're not really doing like all the side quests and side content. If you're big on doing side quests, you'll commit maybe 120 hours.
Oh no, okay. We'll see about that then.
Yeah, that's
I haven't played Witcher 3 yet either because of that exact reason where I'm
Witcher
just, like,
3 took
I'm
me 90
scared
hours for a playthrough.
Yeah, exactly. I'm scared of
that's
all
part
the
of the
content.
reason why I felt comfortable putting like Shin Megami Tensei 5 at 3 despite not beating it, because this is like a 100-hour long game.
Yeah, exactly.
I put 25 hours into it. I am going to beat it eventually, but like it is such a behemoth of a game that it's like yeah, I'm not going to finish it anytime soon.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Lee, that is an incredibly strong number 1. Clearly means a lot to you. And
Burn
bravo.
Corpo shit.
Bravo. I love it.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
So my
God,
one...
the soundtrack. Go listen to the soundtrack. Sorry, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
The soundtrack.
You better be.
Okay.
Oh my god. All right. So, my number 1, I will admit, is a little bit of a cheat. Especially for people who know me very well. This is a really obvious pick for my number 1 for this year. I have been playing this game since I was a little girl. It was one of the first video games I ever played. I have played countless remakes and remasters of it, and sequels, and endlessly. And this was the first remake I've played that felt like I was back in my house in like 1996, sitting on my mom's lap, clicking the mouse with her. So my number 1 is Myst 2021.
Nice.
Yeah. This game holds a very, very special place in my heart. The original is literally what got me into gaming. It's literally the first time I remember playing through a game and just being fully immersed in a universe. And I cannot believe how well the remake captured that. Granted, very much so that the graphics on my like Apple Macintosh back in the day were nothing to sneeze at. It was not the amazing AAA, super immersive, super realistic rendering of everything that you see in modern games today. But man, did they capture an atmosphere and a mood and a sense of place. You felt like you were in that world. And that is what was captured in this one again. And again, I've played countless remakes that kind of just like really missed the mark on that. And this one was the first one that I just like, they did all new 3D environments, all new movement. There's even a mode where it randomizes the puzzles just in case, you're like me and you're incredibly familiar with them. I have actually like replayed Myst every 5 years or so because I like to kind of like get basically enough time passes that I'm kind of like refreshed a little bit on the puzzles. The biggest criticism I had when I got it was that they had replaced the FMV performances for the brothers and Atris with 3D models. And 3D models didn't quite work for me, but the game actually patched in the original performances again in a later update after I had played it on stream.
Nice.
And so, like, not only was it a brilliant game, it's devs listening to player feedback. It's, quickly fixing bugs and issues. Yeah, I mean, I can't gush enough about this franchise just being just the all-time closest franchise to my heart. And so it was, even though there are a lot of things that I really loved on this best of list, this will always be number 1 to me.
Strong entry.
Damn, that's a strong fucking pick.
Yeah. Just
I when you were giving your opening there, I'm like, is it gonna be Wait, was that last year? Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yep. The one thing I haven't done with Miss 2021 is there is a VR version.
Shit.
I really, really want to play it. I just don't have a VR setup for my PC. It's like the one thing that has tempted me to get to, like, shell out the like hundreds of dollars for one. But yeah, it's maybe a little bit too much of an investment right now for me, but someday in the future I will play it in VR.
Yeah.
And I will love it all over again.
Solid list.
Yeah.
All right, James, tell us why your number one is Squid Game.
I actually haven't even seen Squid Game.
I did think about putting... Actually, there were a couple of things I probably should have put on honorable mention. Squid Game was one of them, and Scissor 7 was another one. Those are two that I don't think you guys have... Or I don't know if you've watched Squid Game, Lee, but I don't think anyone's watched Scissor 7.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of it.
But...
God, it's an anime. It's on Netflix. It's a Chinese anime, actually. And it's wild.
Nice.
Anyway, right. James.
So my number one, Kat, it's similar to yours in the sense that it is kind of a cheat. And my number one is Nier Replicant version 1.224744871139, which if anybody is wondering why it has that fucking ridiculously long number, it's because that is the square root of 1.5. Nier Replicant is not quite a remaster. It is not quite a remake. It's, I believe they've called it a version up. What makes it a bit unique is that in Japan, the original Nier, there are two versions of the game. There is Nier Replicant and there is Nier Gestalt. In Nier Gestalt, which is the version that was ported to the West, is just Nier. You play as a father taking care of his young daughter. And in Nier Replicant, you play as a bishy boy young man taking care of his younger sister. Specifically, Gestalt was made because Square Enix was afraid that the Bishonen-style protagonist would not appeal to the West, but Yoko Taro was very insistent that he wanted a Bishonen protagonist. The original Nier is very close to my heart. It is a well-written game, but the gameplay in that thing is janky as fuck.
You've said.
As I've said, yeah, it is not necessarily great. And Nier Replicant Remastered, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is the game it should have been. It's specifically a remaster of again, the Replicant version, so it's Brother Nier. They actually, on top of remastering the graphics, they've revamped the combat system to bring it closer to Nier Automata, so newer fans can kind of get into the groove a bit more. Most importantly, they added a fucking lock-on system, which makes combat a dream. In the original Nier, there's no lock-on, so it's just, you have to fucking pray that your attack will hit the goddamn enemy. They completely recomposed every single song of the game. And more importantly, which is something that doesn't really happen all that often with remasters, they went back and they added in content that they cut from the original release.
Wow.
And it is so seamlessly integrated that people who have played this remaster were unaware that it was cut content. Some have even said that that particular quest line that you go through is the best in the game. It's that fucking good. It is just a dream that Yoko Taro finally has a budget and is able to get competent teams working for him and to realize his world and his vision. It's not quite perfect since some of the recomposed tracks I kind of prefer the original version compared to the newer, more bombastic type. And while I think that Brother Nier is a great protagonist, I think the story is a little more interesting and more compelling when told from a father's perspective. Especially since Nier as a father character is a far more jaded and cynical individual. Although Brother Nier does kind of go through that process where he starts the game a little more hopeful, and by the end of the game, he's kind of a bloodthirsty, cynical asshole. So it's like there's a bit more of a character arc to Brother Nier than Father Nier, but at least for me personally, I connect more with the Father Nier character. But it is, for me, what a remake or remaster should be, where it improves any of the issues that were there in the original game, while leaving, for the most part, everything that was fine, and it goes the step beyond where it adds cut content, which, like I said, is virtually unheard of. Like, one of the things with the Demon Souls remake, everybody was really hoping that they'd add in the cut world, since Demon Souls had a rocky development cycle, and Bluepoint, they said, yeah, we don't feel comfortable touching that, since it would be sort of our interpretation as opposed to what the finalized version for Miyazaki would have been. And I can respect that, but it still is a little disappointing. But it's nice to see that stuff that they had to cut from the original release finally gets to see the light of day in gameplay form 11 years later, 11 years after the fact. It is one of the most emotionally draining narratives I've ever experienced in a video game. Absolutely banger of a fucking soundtrack, even in this new form. Really rich and compelling characters that are just, you'll love them. They all have their quirks and their charms and whatnot. And
you get to hang out with James's gay skeleton son.
My gay skeleton son, my grumpy book dad, and my bitch queen Kaine, all over again. It's so delightful, and they even, like, one of the pieces of content too was an actual additional ending that they released as a short story sometime after the first game came out, and they actually went back and turned it into a proper ending that you can unlock in this game, and it is genuinely satisfying and delightful to experience. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I fucking love Nier, and I love the Mad Lad Yoko Taro, and I'm so happy that he gets money now.
Hell
to spend on more Android booty.
Yeah, it's.
I feel like all of our number ones have been very fitting to each of us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
very fitting.
I don't think a day goes by without James sending a Nier meme or making a Nier reference or going on a tangent about Yoko Taro.
Yeah, well, I mean, half the Discord is basically me and Cal Yoko Taroing it up. It's just endless fucking nonsense of just the insanity that is Yoko Taro, and playing up his works and how batshit fucking insane they are, and how well written they are, and how the soundtrack is really good. But again, like, I will not similar to you, Lee, with the bugs in Cyberpunk, I will not defend the gameplay in any of Yoko Taro's games pre Nier Automata. I will not. It's they are mediocre at best, frustrating at worst.
I will defend Myst with my dying breath.
It's.
What do you mean you're just pulling levers randomly? No, you're fucking not.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's one of those things where I recommend the older games to people, but I also don't recommend the older games to people, and I'm just so happy that one of his older games is finally fucking playable.
Hell yeah.
It's...
Well, shit, we made it.
Yeah,
Damn.
We made it, and it only took 3 hours, which is shorter than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's not bad. Probably a good idea, just like we're at the very end now. Just do the quick roundup.
Yes.
My top 10 from 10 to 1 were Dune, Josh Strife Hayes, Twin Peaks, Malignant, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, RE Village, Ice Nine Kills with the Silver Scream 2, Other Side, Arcane, and at number 1, Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay. My best of was starting at number 10, Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, then Twin Peaks, Malignant, Midnight Mass, Arcane, the whole of JoJo's, Censor by Junji Ito, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1, and then finally at number 1, the most recent 2021 remake of Myst.
And then for me, it goes Godzilla vs. Kong, PG Psycho Gorman, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, Dune Part 1, Haunting Ground, Malignant, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Twin Peaks The Return, and then once again at number 1, and I'm going to read the full title because fuck you, Near Replicant version 1.22474487139.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. We did it. We saved the city.
We saved the city.
But it still got nuked.
It did.
Justice for Cal.
Justice for Cal.
Justice for Cal.
I'm glad that we finally was able to clear the air, and now I can sleep soundly tonight when I'm drunk about Justice for Cal.
Have you been drunk this whole time?
I have been drunk for the last hour and a half, yes. I had a little too much.
Okay. Okay.
Well, you performed very well.
Yeah. I didn't even notice. So typically we usually go through and say kind of what we've been up to, but I've kind of mostly just been up to compiling this list, and I mean I guess we can still do a brief sort of what did we do over Christmas, or whatever,
since
what have
Matrix.
You. As a quick aside.
Yeah, I'll keep it super brief. Just for avoiding bloat.
Yes.
Just earlier today, I saw the new Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
It fucks. It is super good.
Mm-hmm.
I am someone who's very, very tired of all the superhero stuff, but this movie was fucking wonderful.
Awesome.
Other than that, I've just been playing through Kingdom Hearts 3, which I haven't played enough to consider for this list.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. I've been bogged down with work because it's post-holiday sort of retail recovery, everyone coming in with their returns and complaints. So, just field and all that good stuff. So it's been a little bit of a mellow time for me.
Okay. Over the break, I played not one but 2 TTRPG one-shots. So I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. That was like the only thing I did. The first one I did was actually my first original Call of Cthulhu one-shot.
Hell yeah.
So I wrote it completely from ground up. It was a murder mystery on a train, with a supernatural twist. Basically I pitched elevator pitch. It was sort of Murder on the Orient Express meets The Thing.
Oh shit. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it went really, really well.
Nice.
In typical Cthulhu fashion, one person died, one person went mad. It was great. It was fantastic. And then the other TTRPG experience I had was as a player. I played through a Fall of Delta Green one-shot, which, if you guys don't know, Fall of Delta Green is similar to Call of Cthulhu in that it's using the mythos, but it takes place in like the 60s, and Fall of Delta Green has a very specific timeline where it's like while that it's supposed to be essentially the X-Files, and Fall of Delta Green is while that agency is sort of on their downward spiral to their eventual dissolution. And it was real dope. We accidentally let Cthulhu out into the world, so
nice.
Accidentally
in quotes.
Accidentally in quotes. We also killed a man, so
Bobby killed a guy.
It was great. Yeah, Bobby killed a guy.
Right.
It was a very fun break.
I mean, for me, I mean, outside of streaming, I already mentioned 2 of them in my honorable mentions, but I watched Turbo Kid and Suburban Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Post cutoff for our list, I watched 2 additional movies. The first one was Necrotronic, which is sort of it's an Australian movie that's basically kind of Doom meets Ghostbusters, I guess is the best way to describe it. It's sort of an action horror comedy. It wasn't quite, I mean, it was torn apart by critics, but I watched a YouTube video that was sort of like, this is kind of basically the best Doom movie that has come out, even though it's not Doom. It has, it's a fun little Australian movie though. Monica Bellucci plays the big bad. And it's neat. It's schlocky. It's a throwback to 80s cinema and whatnot. But it was a little
better or worse than Psycho Gorman?
Worse.
Okay.
It definitely, like, even if I had watched it before the cutoff, it definitely wouldn't have made my top 10. Not by a long shot. Like,
Gotcha.
I enjoyed it, but it was fine. The other one was another Australian movie that is also a throwback to 80s cinema. It's kind of been a throwback 80s cinema period of a couple weeks for me. Is a film called Lieutenant Jangles. This is actually partly made by a YouTuber I follow called Cordry FX. It's a very profane, vulgar, stupid throwback to like buddy cop movies and whatnot, and like schlocky 80s action films. A lot of jokes hit really fucking hard. Some of the other jokes don't quite hit as hard. It overall was overall pretty funny. It does have like my second favorite joke of the year, just for fucking how stupid and profane it was, where there's this love scene between the main character, Lieutenant Jangles, and some chick or whatever. And then afterwards, his phone rings because like his partners are trying to get a hold of him to like, help stop the big bad. And he answers the phone and just immediately responds with, "I've got cum on me." And it's just so stupid that I had to kind of pause the movie and laugh just because of how fucking idiotic it is. It ties in a lot of like 80s tropes into it. It's sometimes literally like, the whole macho pissing contest thing. There's actually pissing contests in the film where 2 of the cops are trying to see if they can pee higher on a fence than each other. It is a very dumb fucking comedy, but it was fun. It wouldn't have made my top 10 if I had watched it pre-cutoff date, but I enjoyed it, and especially for how stupid and schlocky and over the top it was.
All right.
Yeah. That's basically it.
It's been a good week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
We did it.
We did it.
All right.
I don't know what our next podcast is going to be, but it'll be something.
Yeah, I mean, we still got Bebop on the burner. We've got
Bebop, JoJo's.
We got a whole list.
We could break up JoJo's into
No.
1 through 5, and then 6 is its own.
No.
I think we got to go something a little more lighthearted for the next one. I'm looking at Grave Encounters.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh, I would be down. Love me
do
some.
the Grave Encounters Demon House double feature.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Grave Encounters too.
That actually reminds me. I completely forgot that I watched Grave Encounters for the first time last year. That's an honorable mention for me.
Gasp.
But I guess we'll save more of that discussion for later. I actually am thinking we might be able to squeeze in a guest for a Grave Encounters Demon House thing.
Excellent. Good. Love our guests.
Yeah,
they've all been great so far.
Yeah, this would be a new guest. She was there for Axum. I'll just say that. I think that would be perfect.
Amazing. Yes, she would be perfect.
That would be
perfect.
My gosh. Yeah.
All right.
So let's do our sign-offs.
Yeah. So it's your girl, the Attack Cat, aka Cat. You can catch me on Twitch. We're actually going to stream and plat Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. We're about halfway through the story at this point, and it's a very easy, quick plat, so we're gonna have fun.
Hell yeah, and this is your favorite sentient mass of scarves and prayer beads, the Valley Jester. You can check my shit over at twitch.tv/ValleyJester. We're doing Kingdom Hearts 3 at the moment. And then as soon as we conclude that, we are going to be delving into FF7 Remake on PC.
Time Ghosts.
Ooh.
Oh,
Time
there will
Ghosts.
be Time Ghosts.
Get him.
Yeah. So this is James, aka Saber0307. You can check me out at twitch.tv/Saber0307. I'm still working through all of the Extra Life things, along with now Drakengard, and, still trying to go through Yakuza and Story of Seasons and clear out some of the remaining Back to Ghoul stuff and get back to Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden and all sorts of other stuff that I keep putting off because of hack fraudery and or hey, let's do fucking Phasmo again. Yeah. So eventually, hopefully I can clear out that list and get to some newer shit. We'll see.
Hell yeah.
Anyways, so that'll do it for this episode. Y'all take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Be excellent to each other. And everybody just realize that Balan Wonderworld sucks dick.
Hunky boys.
Also get fucked.
Wow.
Hello! Goonbot here. I have nothing of value to add to the conversation. I just wanted to chime in so people are aware that I am still a thing. Also, Saber is a hack fraud fuck.